I am Joseph Hughes, merchant, patriot, and signer of the Declaration of Independence. For about 20 years, I traded with Britain. I knew her ships, her markets, her reach. I stood to lose everything if we broke away. But when war came, I turned that knowledge toward a new purpose, building a navy for a fledgling nation that had none. In Congress, I helped commission our first warships and oversaw every shilling spent to outfit them. I promoted a bold young soldier in whom I had the utmost confidence, John Paul Jones. He would become the Revolution's greatest naval hero. John Adams said we laid the cornerstone of the American Navy. He was right. I died in service, far from home, worn down by the work, but I would do it again. For a country that rose from resistance and learned to command the sea.
This is the world that you know. The world as it was at the end of the 20th century. It exists now only as part of a neural interactive simulation that we call the Matrix. You've been living in a dream world, Neo. This is the world.
Cameras on, we're going live tonight. American pride and patriot fight. The white rabbit has taken flight. Knock, knock, sleepy Neo, this is for real. We're swallowing red pills left and right. Come and overdose with us Tuesday night. They say we're crazy, say we've gone too far, but we're just truth seekers under the dome. Don't be mad at us, Google Chrome. They laugh, they mock, they think we're insane. Please just use your effing brain. This is the UPC where real Americans are standing up, taking control of the matrix we keep dying for. You don't like it, you can leave. If you wanna complain, call the damn 6 screens, cause we're already detached from deep state machines. They say we're crazy, they say I've gone too far, ready to drown us with feathers and tar. If you're still in our country, we haven't gone far enough. They love to hate us, thinking we've gone insane, but we could care less, they don't know our pain. This is the UPC where real Americans are standing up, taking control of the matrix we keep dying for. You don't like it, you can leave. If you wanna complain, call the damn 6 screens, cause we're already detached from deep state machines. This is who we are, we bleed red, white, and blue. We're never gonna stop Trinity. This ain't no place for sensitivity, not even worried about our credibility. When it's all in flames, don't call me to light the flare. Don't call me to light the flare. Because no one is coming to save us, Jesus Christ. Don't call me to light the flare. But if I say Christ is king, oops, I'm anti-Semitic too. This is the UPC where real Americans are standing up, taking control of the matrix we keep dying for. You don't like it, you can leave. If you wanna complain, call the damn 6 screens, cause we're already detached from deep state machines.
Hello, everybody. How's the sound? Is it still good?
Yeah, the sound is great, Ruby. Hello, everyone.
Awesome. Wow, everybody here. I put the link in the chat, guys. If you want to join now. Because I already know this stream is going to go all kinds of places because we got so much to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But before we do, we're going to give a quick kind of like an update. So I'm not on camera tonight because I was suffering from a migraine since this morning and it hasn't gone away. Hi, Dave.
Hi.
What's up, buddy?
How's everyone doing?
Good. Good to see you.
Good. Yes. Okay. I'm glad you joined early. Click that link, guys, is in the chat. All right. So yeah, I was suffering from a migraine today, so I'm gonna stay off camera. I'm sitting in my living room in the dark, but I'm here with you guys. All right. And so last Tuesday we had to skip the show. Jimmy had some minor surgeries. If you haven't seen my post, he had a minor surgery and he was still recovering from that. So please keep him in your thoughts and prayers. And last Tuesday, last week, I lost a cousin of mine. So if you haven't, I posted it everywhere as well, guys. So if you can, please pray for my cousin. He passed away recently. So Jimmy and I just thought it would be best to postpone last Tuesday's show and just come back stronger tonight. So that's what we're gonna do tonight.
Yeah. Before anyone asks, the surgery that I had a spot that was on my forehead that I had removed a couple of weeks ago. And they wanted to do a biopsy on it. So the biopsy results came back and it was actually a seborrheic keratosis. And once the biopsy came back, they said it wasn't cancerous, so that's a good thing. But they wanted to go in and clean up the margins and everything to make sure they got all the stuff out of it. And they did. The doctor did tell me, he said, Jimmy, he says, I'm glad you came in and did this because within a year to 5 years, it could have turned into a melanoma. And we definitely don't want that. So I still got stitches in my forehead. It actually looks pretty good on camera. You can't really tell.
Yeah, you can. It looks great.
But last week I was wearing a big old bandage on my head. So, and it was kind of bloody and all that. So, but the stitches come out on Monday. It's healing up pretty good. So thank you for those that sent your thoughts and prayers and well wishes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. So, and then quick side note, Bo did text me that he won't be joining us tonight. He is suffering from the flu. So I texted him. Yeah, I know. It's like there's so many things going on, man. Life is hitting me hard. You know, it's hitting all of us, but we're gonna have fun tonight. We have a lot to talk about. I'm gonna let Jimmy choose where you want to go first. Because I already know the end game. All right.
Yeah.
But you can let us know where you want to start first.
Well, let's catch up with Dave real quick. Dave, how's your past 2 weeks been? You doing all right?
Oh yeah, I've been doing good. Business is taking off, landing more clients. Wife's good. Going to bed in a couple hours as always.
Why does it look so sunny there? Or is it just really bright?
Because it's 9:12 in the morning.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Yeah. I mean, I go to bed during the day, but remember there's at least a 12-hour difference.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, but if it's 9:12 there, it's 9:12 here. So it's exactly a 12-hour difference.
Yeah, it depends on where in the US you are. Sometimes it could be like a 14-hour difference, but
yeah.
Okay, yeah. We're East Coast, so it is 9-something p.m.
Gotcha.
right now.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's morning here.
Nice. All right. Cool.
Wow.
Well, I'm glad you're here this evening. And thank you for everybody already being in the chat. We really appreciate you guys sticking with us, watching our show every week. We really do appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for your support. And if you What?
I'm sorry, Jimmy. But JG says, "Are you gonna have a Harry Potter lightning bolt on your forehead?"
No, we'll see.
The
Well,
scar.
hold on. Let me see if I can get real close to the camera. I don't even know if y'all can freaking see it. It's actually not that.
Yeah, you can see it a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
Oh my word! Do not make me laugh about serious things, guys. This is horrible.
We'll see. We'll see if there. I got this stuff called Scar Away. That after the
Mhm.
stitches come out and everything, I'm supposed to put the Scar Away stuff on, and it's supposed to fill in any type of scar that could possibly be left. So, so we'll see. But I'm telling you, I'm just looking on camera. I can't even tell it, so I'm good.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
So, all right. So the title of the show tonight, guys, was "What is Fueling the Political Violence?" Or I guess that's what the title is. Something to that effect.
Yeah, I tried my best. I'm sorry, guys.
And so we're going. My thoughts this evening were this. Everybody knows, if you've been watching this show, that I do not like the whole right versus left thing, because I think what we're seeing right now is a battle between good and evil. I've always said that. And I do believe right and left, conservative, liberal, whatever country you're in, whatever the factions are, I totally believe that that's all been designed to divide and conquer the people and control the people as well. However, for those of us that have gone down the rabbit holes a little bit farther, and we do believe that this is a spiritual battle, there are many out there that are still falling into the trap of right versus left. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't like folks on the right. I definitely don't like the left. There are some decent people there, but they're the minority. And so, you know what? The only way that I could express this evening was this past week or so, I've been digging on some information, trying to get some historical references on why there's political violence. And unfortunately, a lot of it leads to the Democratic side of things. So I'm going to get into that. I'm going to share what I have found, what my opinion on it is, and then we can discuss it. There was something else I was going to say real quick too. I'm also going to talk about the SPLC news. That's not going to be a very big conversation. I was hoping that Bo was going to be on here tonight, because he sent me a message asking why was a lot of the right-wing influencers leaving America after the SPLC indictment. Now, I haven't looked into that.
I saw that. So really quickly, I already saw some clips about that on X. Like with Nick Fuentes. I know Laura Loomer was all over the internet trying to make that connection and start a conspiracy theory about that.
Okay.
But I reject that. And Nick Fuentes also said that it was just pure coincidence. He went on vacation there. I'm not sure why Candace left, and it was more of a coincidence because they all went to Italy at the same time, and they just didn't know that each other were going to the same country for vacation or whatever. So I'm gonna keep it really simple and not go too far into this. I just think it's coincidence. Like, I'm not gonna like make a whole theory out of it.
Yeah, I kind of.
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. I was gonna say I lean that way too, because I heard about that, and kind of my response to that would be, okay, you talk about like the right-wing influencers that went to Italy. Well, what about the droves of conservative Americans that moved to Russia or other countries during the Biden administration? Because that was in the news, right? There's been a lot of conservative Americans that have left the U.S. for that reason, predominantly in the Biden administration, but even like during the Trump administration for various reasons. A lot of them, from what I've seen, come from like very blue states. And because people from blue states, they tend to move to red states. They're like, you know what? My family's from this country. My wife is from this country. My husband is from this country. They don't have the same social issues there. So they end up moving.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna like I mean, unless something else pops up, then I'm going to be looking at it sideways. But right now, it just seems like everybody went on vacation and it just so happened to be the same country. But none of them knew what was going on, or there wasn't like some big meeting or something that they were all having in Italy. I don't think that. But
Yeah,
go
like
ahead,
I
Jimmy.
said, I haven't looked into it. Really, I've been paying attention to other things. That's
Yeah.
least of my concerns for me at the moment.
Mhm.
So, all right. So let's go ahead and talk about the SPLC first. Let me share my screen with you. Well, I'll do that here in a second. But an indictment came out last week against the SPLC, and there's a lot of people that don't know who they are or what their background is. And so I wanted to share that with you guys this evening. So let me go ahead and let me share my screen.
And while you do that, Jimmy, just a quick piggyback on your previous comment about the left versus right.
Right.
I don't there's nothing really wrong about that on the surface level. Like, I totally agree with people labeling themselves or identifying themselves, right? But when it comes to like how states gerrymander, or when they try to force certain type of rules and laws about voting when it comes to party, that's when I have an issue with it. We shouldn't be like, we shouldn't have to register. So I would agree that we should have our own opinions about ourselves, but to register, I'm totally against that. We should just be one party, one country, one nation, one race.
Gotcha.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So once the screen is shared, you guys can follow along with me. The SPLC, let's go. Let me switch my screen here over to this one. Share this tab instead. Okay. Hopefully that came through. Let me see if it came through. Okay. There we go. All right. So it's called the Southern Poverty Law Center. And this is an explanation from Wikipedia on who they are. The Southern Poverty Law Center is an American 501c3 nonprofit.
You see?
What have we learned about these 501c3s, folks?
Yeah.
The biggest thing we've learned about these entities is that they are well known for money laundering. All right. So it's a legal advocacy organization specializing in civil rights and public interest litigation. Based in Montgomery, Alabama, it is known for its legal cases against white supremacist groups, for its classification of hate groups and other extremist organizations, and for promoting anti-bias education. The SPLC was founded by Morris Dees. We're going to get into him a little bit more here in a second. Joseph Levin Jr. and Julian Bond in 1971 as a civil rights law firm in Montgomery. In 1980, the SPLC began a litigation strategy of filing civil suits for monetary damages on behalf of the victims of violence from the Ku Klux Klan. Please, folks, remember what I just said there. They were filing a civil lawsuit for monetary damages on behalf of victims of violence from the Ku Klux Klan. The SPLC also became involved in other civil rights causes, including cases to challenge what it sees as institutional racial segregation and discrimination, inhumane and unconstitutional conditions in prisons and detention centers, discrimination based on sexual orientation, mistreatment of illegal immigrants, and the unconstitutional mixing of church and state. The SPLC has provided information about hate groups to the FBI and other law enforcement agencies. So, on the surface, sounds like they're there for a valid reason, or they have something that they're an agenda that they feel strongly about. Now, let's look at Morris Dees real quick, the founder. He's an American attorney known as the co-founder and former chief trial counsel for the Southern Poverty Law Center, based in Montgomery. He ran a direct marketing firm before founding SPLC. Along with his law partner, Joseph Levin, Dees founded the SPLC in 1971. Dees and his colleagues at the SPLC have created credited with devising innovative ways to cripple hate groups such as the Ku Klux Klan. All right. There's a reason why I want to mention that. Now, let me go back over here to this tab. Let me share this tab with you guys. And here it talks about we defend racial justice issues. Strengthening democracy and voting rights. Look at the picture. Just saying. Dismantling white supremacy. Ending unjust imprisonment. And eliminating poverty and economic inequality. So, first the South, then the nation is how they want to start. They want to start it in the South and move it across. Landmark cases, inspiring hope, tracking hate.
Oh my word! I can't.
There's a reason why. There's a reason why I'm sharing all this with you guys, because last week. All right, let's stop sharing. Because last week these folks were indicted. Now, what were they indicted on, and what happened? So let me make sure I got the right thing for you guys. Let me close a couple of these out. Let me go over here. I'm going to be sharing TikTok now. So just bear with me. I got a lot to share tonight, guys. Share screen. I want to go to TikTok. Share. All right. So I'm going to play two videos. I'm going to play these two videos right here. I'm going to play this first one with this bearded guy, and the next one, the deputy director of the department. Oh, wait, hold on. Who would he take over? Oh, God. Attorney General. He was the deputy attorney general to Pam Bondi. So let's play this guy first.
So now we find out that the very organizations that are supposed to be fighting hate, racism, and bigotry have actually been directly funding it. This might be the biggest news story of the year. So the Southern Poverty Law Center, the SPLC, they were just indicted because they received donations with the mission of fighting racism, hatred, bigotry, all of that. However, they've now found that the SPLC donated more than $3 million of donor money to the Ku Klux Klan, the United Klans of America, the Aryan Nation, the Sadistic Souls Motorcycle Club, which is a white supremacist motorcycle club, and even the American Front. Like, y'all remember these guys? You know, the khaki pant and blue shirt racists you've seen everywhere? Yeah, it turns out they were being funded by the SPLC. See all this money right here? All of it went to racist organizations with the intention of creating hatred, creating violence. The very people that are paid to fight against this shit have actually been funding it. Oh, and this isn't some crazy opinion online. This is an indictment. So now we find out.
The American in total, according to the indictment, between 2014 and 2023, SPLC paid at least $3 million to 8 individuals at least. These individuals were affiliated with the Ku Klux Klan, United Klans of America, National Socialist Movement, Aryan Nations affiliated Sadistic Souls Motorcycle Club, the Nationalist Socialist Party of America, Nazis, and the American Front. Now, as the indictment lays out, after SPLC paid members of these extremist groups, it created work product that reported on these activities that the members participated in or contributed to. And to that end, it was doing the exact opposite of what it's told its donors it was doing. Not dismantling extremism, but funding it. To carry out this scheme, SPLC created bank accounts in the name of at least 5 completely fictitious organizations that had no bona fide employees or legitimate business purpose. The money was passed from SPLC to one sham account to a second sham account and then loaded onto prepaid cards to give to the members of the extremist groups. This was designed to shield the source of those funds, and because of this, SPLC is also charged with one count, as I said earlier, of conspiracy to commit money laundering. In conclusion, I want to thank the acting U.S. Attorney in the Middle District of Alabama, Kevin Davidson, who's in his district right now and not able to be with us, for bringing this important case, along with the FBI team in Alabama for their hard work during this investigation. This investigation is ongoing, and I'd like to ask Director Patel to say a few words as well.
A little glitchy in there, but we got the gist of it.
Yeah. So
I have a question.
Oh, Jimmy is glitching. Am I glitching?
You seem to be
Jimmy
fine.
looks fine on my end.
Yeah, Ruby, you sound fine on my end.
Okay, so Jimmy is glitching on my end.
Huh. That's odd.
Okay, you can hear me good though, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
All right. So, Ruby, can you hear me all right? You good?
Yeah.
Okay, what were you going to say? And then we'll go to Dave.
Okay, I was going to say this is why I genuinely believe that there is no such thing as racism. There is no such thing as hate speech or racism the way the news is trying to tell us that there is, like that website. They're trying to make something up as the problem, and they are the solution as well. But they're causing the problem. So it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, exactly. We had a comment from Free Grace 2289. Created the problem, then offer the solution. And I'm going to share some more stuff here in a little bit to show why these people are doing what they're actually doing. It goes back further than just, 1971. But this actually showed, you guys saw for yourself that SPLC went to court to try to win monetary lawsuit for the victims of the Ku Klux Klan. All right. However, they're the ones that have been funding them. You guys remember we talked about the Patriot Front group. I told you guys that I believe that they were the feds. And then what did we find out in the article about SPLC? That they informed the FBI of these hate groups. Okay, could they be working together? Could they be creating this stuff to create a division amongst Americans? From what we've seen, absolutely. And going back to the 501c3 thing, here we have another example, a true indictment of money laundering in those type of organizations. We have seen it time and time again. So one thing that I always try to advise people or educate folks on is to always look for a pattern. And there's definitely a pattern with this group of promoting hatred and things like that. And unfortunately, they're not the only one, but they're one of the biggest. So that's why this was such a big story last week. It got a lot of traction in social media. I don't think it got a lot on mainstream. Of course, I don't watch mainstream, so I kind of wouldn't know. But there's a lot of people talking about this last week. So Dave, go ahead. What was your question, buddy?
So, well, you said there's a lot more stuff to back up what you were saying. So you're probably going to end up answering it.
Okay.
But kind of what I'm thinking of is there are organizations that pay informants within these groups, right? And one of the ways they will do it is through prepaid debit cards. The FBI and ATF will do this for cartel members, especially because all the accounting is tracked. Everyone's bank account is tracked. So they do have to do some type of financial chicanery to make the money look legit, so the cartel members don't suspect that, one of their members is being funded by the police. So my question basically was just going to be, how do we know this isn't a case of them paying informants and someone got sloppy and this got leaked? But it sounds like you have more evidence to kind of back that claim. So
yeah, I do. And we're going to go into that.
Okay.
Let's see. Attorneys get money for working on these groups. Yeah. So if you just look, so yeah, this is definitely another way for them to take money and put it towards agendas that they want to create division. Now, this is going along with the title of tonight's show. You know, what is causing this political violence? This is just one little part of it, because if you create these hate groups and you got everybody out there fussing and fighting with each other because, oh, you're white, you're black, you're Latino, you're Asian, da 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 da, that is something that's being created on purpose. Because if we're fighting amongst ourselves, then we're not paying attention to what the deep state globalists have been doing. And that's been the problem with Americans anyway. We've been lulled into sleep over the last 30, 40 years. And we haven't done anything about it. You know, there have been people fighting, you know, against the system, but there's so many people that just want to watch their football. They want to go see what the next movies are, what albums coming out. There's just so many distractions that folks aren't paying attention to this stuff. And they've been getting away with it. Well, now they're not getting away with it because everything that they've been trying to do is being exposed. Now, are you paying attention to that? Are you just wanting to just say, oh, well, the world's a stage, blah, blah, blah. Well, okay, yeah, the world's a stage. And what are you doing about it? Are you just accepting that? That's taking an L, in my opinion. You know, and I got more to back that up as well. So
yeah, really quickly, because we know that it's a stage, but it's a stage on purpose. And that's what we're seeing right now, is that these groups, they already existed. It's that these types of organizations are funding them so that they have the money to share or create their propaganda.
Correct.
So it's not, there's nothing necessarily wrong with the group itself. It's about their funding, because if they didn't have that money or the means to say what they want, do what they want, and spread their ideas, then those ideas would have died a long time ago.
Right.
But because they are funded and they have the money to continue this, to their rhetoric, then they continue to exist. You know what I'm saying? Like in America, you have the freedom to create a group as those groups, to have those ideas. That's fine. But your ideas in a capitalist society like us, they will die if it doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why I believe that racism is all fake. Is because they're funding racism to become a thing. In the real world, that would have died. Racism died a very long time ago in the real world. They're just trying to keep up an appearance that racism still exists with organizations like this.
Correct. And you know, there's truth in what you're saying there about racism died a long time ago, because I see it on social media. You know, a lot of people put it out there as like, hey, you know, back in the 80s, we didn't have a problem with racism. You know, there was no problem. Now, granted, you had your little pockets of people in certain areas that were racist, true racist on both sides. Okay.
Right.
So, there you had that, but not as a big issue, a national issue as you see today. That did not exist in the 80s and 90s. And that really didn't come back on the scene until Obama became president and started making it an issue. There's proven data on that. There's facts on that. If I have to look it up, eventually I will and share with you guys. But going back to the funding part of it, you know, we got to ask the question, who's funding it? Why are they funding it? What's the purpose of it? What is their end game? What are they trying to do? And so I've got a clip I wanted to share with you guys from a former leftist who talks about the Communist Manifesto. We've mentioned it before, but I'm going to share what she says about it. Because if you listen to the points in what she's sharing, you can apply it to things that you're seeing today. And I'm telling you guys, by the time we get to the end of this all leads to the Trump assassination thing. So I'm trying to build this up to where you guys can see where I'm coming from. All right. So let me go here and share my screen. Share screen. Let's go back to TikTok. Share. I love TikTok. It's got some great stuff on here. All right. So let's go listen to her.
The American left has absolutely been infiltrated by the Communist Party of America. And as a former leftist, I'm going to prove it to you. See, the Communist Party made it kind of easy for us because they wrote a little manifesto back in like 1963 that basically explained what they needed to do in order to infiltrate political parties and take over countries. Now, think about political parties here in America. Think about your traditional Republicans versus Democrats. Think about the issues that they tend to care about more and the way that they approach politics. Now, which party do you think is going to be easier to infiltrate? The one that thinks with their feelings, which is going to be the Democrat Party. And before we go over what's in this manifesto, I just want to remind you, they wrote this in 1963. So if you're a Democrat right now, you are the generation that all of this worked on. Now let's dive into the actual manifesto, okay? The top two things that they need to accomplish are the U.S. acceptance of coexistence as the only alternative to atomic war, which is pretty much where we're at right now. The left currently prefers that we coexist with people who scream death to America, that we coexist with terrorist regimes like Iran, that we are willing to capitulate in preference to having an atomic war. Another goal, develop the illusion that the total disarmament by the United States would be a demonstration of moral strength. That is something that the left is very much pushing for right now, that we totally get out of war and have no more war. Here's another one, number 17, get control of the schools. Use them as transmission belts for socialism and current communist propaganda. Soften the curriculum. Get control of teachers' associations. Put the party line in textbooks. And the proof that this is working is evident, okay? The shooter this weekend at the White House Correspondent Dinner was a teacher. Number 18, gain control of all student newspapers. This one right here is exactly why Trump was even taking the time to take things like PBS off the air. Companies like PBS were primarily played and distributed on college campuses, and they were heavily funded by the Communist Party of America. Number 20, infiltrate the press. Number 21, gain control of key positions in radio, TV, and motion pictures. That's why everything you see lately is heavily skewed to the left. Oh, and this is a funny one. Do you remember when the left was really big into statues and tearing down statues of things? Yeah, number 22 is continue discrediting American culture by degrading all forms of artistic expression, and they were told to eliminate all good sculpture from parks and buildings and substitute shapeless, awkward, and meaningless forms. Number 25, break down cultural standards of morality by promoting pornography and obscenity in books, magazines, motion pictures, radio, and TV. At the same time, infiltrate the churches and replace revealed religion with social religion. Discredit the Bible and emphasize the need for intellectual maturity, which does not need a religious church. Number 28, eliminate prayer or any phase of religious expression in the schools on the ground that it violates the principle of separation of church and state. Discredit the American Constitution by calling it inadequate and old-fashioned. Discredit the founding fathers, present them as selfish aristocrats who had no concern for the common man. 2 down here is a big one, okay? Support any socialist movement to give centralized control over any part of the culture. Education, social agencies, welfare programs, mental health clinics, discredit and dismantle the FBI, infiltrate and gain control of unions and of big business. Are you starting to see how this set of ideals is pretty much shaping the left right now? Look at number 40 and 41. Discredit the family as an institution, encourage promiscuity and easy divorce, and then emphasize the need to raise children away from the negative influence of parents. Attribute things like prejudices, mental blocks, and retarding of children to suppressive influences of their parents. Because see, once they've broken apart your family and convinced you that everything wrong with you is the fault of your parents, then they can start doing things like number 42. They can create the impression that violence and insurrection are just legitimate aspects of the American tradition, that students and special interest groups should rise up and use united force to solve these economic and political issues. This is what they have done to the left. They have infiltrated their ideas into your ideology and have now rewired your brains to where you are thinking for them, not for yourselves. And I'm not saying by any means that the Republican Party is perfect as is, but I am telling you that the road that the Democrat Party is heading down is very dangerous and straight up evil. I need some of you guys on the left to wake up and realize that things like socialism and communism are concepts that you cannot vote yourselves out of. So if you're so afraid of fascism taking over this country, you need to be taking a look at your own party. Because FYI, while all of you guys were so worried that Trump was bringing fascism into this country, Joe Biden signed a law that says that by next year, we're going to have 24/7 surveillance in our cars. So fascism's already here. Are you going to keep allowing it, or are you going to do something about it? The American.
Okay, so the reason I wanted to share that with you guys is to show you what their plan has been to do to this country. So these things that the SPLC is doing is just another tool, another tactic that they're using to divide the country. And when we talk about who funds this stuff, we've already talked about it before. We know George Soros is a huge proponent, a huge player in this. And there's many others. I saw somebody post something about Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We know that Bill Gates promotes and funds a lot of this stuff as well. So, and there's many, many others that fund these type of ideas that they're trying to instill and accomplish here in America. Any comments?
I just think it's interesting that. Oh, did I cut you off? I didn't hear anything.
No, go ahead. I want you to go first. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so I think it's kind of interesting in that text that like the first 2 points are about America pulling away from war, and then later on encouraging Americans to go to war with themselves.
Well, I think, in my opinion on that, Dave, what I see here is, and we're going to talk about that with another clip that I have, about there's a difference between fighting and creating violence in the streets versus actually standing up for yourself and standing up for your country. There's two different aspects here. You know, for folks like me that want to fight for my country, is I want the country to go back to constitutional law. I want the country to succeed so that my grandchildren can have a better future in this country than I have. There's that's the fight that I want. That's the fight that I'm willing to fight. Then you have the other ones who want to bring in a Marxist, socialist, communistic ideology into this nation and turn us into that. And they want to use violence to do it and to accomplish it. And they're doing that. And they're promoting it. And they're funding it. So there's two different fights here, in my opinion.
But they're trying to convince us to vote for it so that they don't have to use violence, in my opinion, right? They're trying to brainwash us. They're targeting the schools, try to get them young. So when they grow older, by the time you're in high school, you're a full-blown liberal, progressive.
Right.
And then you vote for these things without even realizing that this is somebody else's idea for your country, and you think that this is your idea to make your country better, as if you're going to gain more rights or more freedom by voting some type of way, which that doesn't exist. And I don't believe in that type of identity politics, because there's a major difference. Now,
yeah, they're they're
Go
definitely using the propaganda and brainwashing of the American people to accomplish what they want to see happen in America. That way they can use plausible deniability and say, oh, well, you know, the people voted for this. We got to do what they said. You know, that's
exactly the tactic that a specific party of Germans used in the early 30s because a specific painter who will remain nameless tried to do a putsch and a military coup, and he had the backing of military personnel.
But you see, he just played on their feelings, though. Their country during that time, they were already suffering, so he was building up. What's happening today is they're destroying. They're building. They want to destroy us and rule the ashes. It's not the other way around, and that's why he was beloved by his people. So even though I don't agree with everything during that time period, they had their reasons for that. It's a completely different circumstance, and that's why many.
True, but it's the same strategy. It's the same strategy because he realized at that point you can't fight people. You can't force your way to power. You have to
Yeah.
get people to vote for you, regardless of the circumstances. And it just so happened that the only reason why people swarmed to him was, Black Friday, the Great Depression in America, when America called in all of its loans on Germany, and that killed their economy even more. Right? Prior to that time, his party was, doing not well whatsoever, because the British and the French gave Germany loans, and Germany was starting to have an economic recovery. And so his ranting and wailing never got anywhere until that happened.
Yeah. So I do see the parallels, but then you got to remember completely different. We have a constitution and our people gun, so that will never fly in America. And I think that's why, like what Bourne says, I think the billionaires want immigrants, not citizens. That's exactly what it is. That's the power play.
absolutely.
They want immigrants because immigrants are never going to have the patriotism and the nationalism of an American-born citizen. And I don't mean just born because you crossed the border and you were born here. I mean real Americans.
Yeah, absolutely. That falls into the whole great replacement theory. And if let's just look at Europe right now. Does England look like it did 50 years ago? No. Does
England
Germany
doesn't even look like what it did 5 years ago.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So yeah, does Germany look the same as it did 20 years ago? No.
The whole Europe don't look the same.
And the reason why is because there is a battle out there to destroy the West. And one of the ways to do it is to infiltrate these countries with refugees, illegal immigrants, migrants, whatever the hell you want to call them. And that way you take the identity away from these countries. You attack the nationalism of these countries. Oh, well, you can't do that. We don't do that in England anymore. This is what they say. Oh, well, this is not how America's run. We want to run it like Somalia, or we want to run it like, somewhere else in a Middle Eastern country. We want to bring Sharia law in here. To those MFers that want to bring Sharia law into America, you guys need to go, because that's not happening. We're not.
I think the fatal problem, and I'm not very fluent on U.S. history, but I know like Europe and especially England was like exceptional at forcing compliance with the culture, and until recently. And I live in a country that forces compliance with the culture.
Yeah.
Right. Otherwise, you get deported, or the locals will kill you, or the police will kill you. I think that needs to happen in the U.S. I think people were saying make Christian again. And you know what? This is probably going to sound weird, but having lived in parts of the world that do this, where it's very effective, I think the only way to save the West is to say, okay, you're going to live here. Are you Christian? Will you become Christian?
Yeah,
If not,
exactly.
you execute them on the spot to set an example. Mass executions, just like China does. India's done that. Other countries have done that. You force people to convert. You force people to obey. And you use, whether people agree with it or not, you use the military or the police force to ensure the cultural standards and the moral standards of whatever nation you want to talk about.
See, I don't think you need to go that drastic route here in America, because our Constitution allows folks to have freedom of religion. Okay, fine. If you want to have your freedom of religion here in America, you're welcome to do that. Just don't take your religion and bring it into the political scheme and try to change our Constitution or the way that our culture is. We are not a Muslim country. We will not be a Muslim country. So these folks coming in here and doing that, that's wrong. And then you got groups like the SPLC that are funding it. They're funding it. They're funding this. Exactly. That's the connection between those two.
And like I'm saying, it does sound drastic, and I don't think that would necessarily work in America. I can definitely see that working in European countries like Poland and Hungary, because it works great in Russia, right? So
Well, you know what, Dave? I agree with the ideology. I don't agree with the means to get it done, because in America we just don't have that sort of backbone anymore, where the
Yeah.
local police or like states, they will never take it that seriously. So it has to be us regular citizens kind of like socially bullying these people out of our country. That's just the way I see it, like on social media, which is why they're so upset when Elon bought X, and now we can say whatever the hell we want.
Mhm.
Because now all of these people, they can't do what they used to do on the internet. So you see, they're already trying to do it in real life, on the internet, in the public school system. But you can bypass all of that if you know better.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I was
Yeah.
homeschooled, so that propaganda, it skipped my generation, because
Yep.
I didn't get that type of indoctrination in the public school system. Now, when I had my own children, my youngest one has never, gone to a real school. So you see, once you start breaking that cycle of indoctrination, then you are mentally free, and you can
Mhm.
start your own ideas. And that's what you teach your children. It's the parents' job to teach their children about good and bad, or, go take them to church, or, like to instill values, not the government, because the government's going to do whatever they want. It's our job. So we have to do that socially.
Mhm.
Yeah, think about it. How did the children of America in the past become educated before there was freaking public schools? You know, this late
The local
1700s.
church.
Yeah, they had the local communities. That's where the kids, learn their stuff. There was no public school education like that. And then if we want to go back, and this will be another video or another segment somewhere along the way,
Mhm.
but who started the public school system? Why did they start the public school system? Who funded the Rockefellers? It goes all the
Yeah.
way back to that. Because, who was it said? I don't want to misquote somebody. I don't know if it was Rockefeller or maybe it was Henry Ford. I can't remember. I think it was Rockefeller. Said, I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers. And that
Yeah.
was in relation to let me just teach these kids. Let me just get them smart enough to where they can operate some machinery or be able to do some accounting or whatever. But I don't want them being smart enough to figure out what we're doing behind the scenes. That's what they wanted.
Yeah, but you once again, the historical aspect, we have to put it in context, because back then they really did need those types of people because of the whole World War stuff, right? But now we have evolved so much that that doesn't work anymore. You cannot put children 8 hours a day in a desk and expect them to learn anything, really. So
Yeah.
we're
I
seeing
mean,
a shift.
and just look. I mean, you can look on, and I think I've sent some videos to Ruby to where you have these college kids being, excuse me, interviewed by somebody, being asked questions. Like who did we fight in the Civil, or who fought in the Civil War? Who did we fight in the
Hmm.
Revolutionary War? What year? What year was the Declaration of Independence? Just basic knowledge. And these people cannot answer these simple questions.
Yeah.
So they say, what country would you like to visit? Oh, Oregon. Crap like that. They say stuff like that.
Well, to be fair, Oregon is very liberal, so it might as well be its own country, right? I mean, I could give grace to that person.
My
I
God.
can, like, someone says California, yeah, that's an interesting country to visit. I could see that.
It's horrible. It's just horrible. I mean, not even 10, 15 years ago can I recognize the school system. Like when I
Yeah,
was
oh, it's
little,
changed.
the type of stuff, yeah, it's horrible. They don't even discipline children anymore. They don't send you to the principal's office anymore. They don't call your parents anymore. They don't threaten you anymore. You know what I'm like?
And this
It's
Well, yeah.
horrible.
this goes back to the video with the girl talking about those different points of things that they wanted to accomplish. And this is one of the things they wanted to take over the schools. They wanted to push their own agenda, thoughts, and ideas on our students because kind of like Watchtower, we got to get them young. We got to keep them in here
Exactly.
young. You know, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's
So-
interesting too because a lot of it is a cultural shift as well, and how
Right.
education is viewed, and even how parents raise kids. Because like I could
Right.
take you to schools in like Japan where students will sit for 10 to 12 hours a day, and this actually my wife was teaching, adults in Japan how to speak English for the IELTS, I think it's called, like the International English Certification thing,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Like one of her like one of the people she was teaching with, right? So she knew some other teachers. One of them had 2 students commit suicide because they did not get good marks. Because of the
Oh
social
my word.
shame in Japan is so massive. Like students will unalive themselves if they don't get A's. And I
Yeah,
was
this-
reading something on in China now where the parenting in China is way different, right? Where there's like many parents will not allow their children to watch TV.
Yep.
They will take away dinner, so you only eat 2 meals a day. They will not allow you to see your friends if you have any
Mhm.
mark less than an A in any class, including gym, and you have to play a musical instrument and you have to get an A in that as well. If you fail, they will completely like take away your friends, they will sell their televisions, they will literally shame you into getting
Yeah.
good grades. And I think if America did that, then the school system would be a lot better.
well,
Because then you weed out the people who can't contribute.
Exactly.
yeah, the American school system used to be at the top, or at least at the, at least in the top 10. Let's just say that.
Yeah, it was definitely up there. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and that was back in the 80s. But ever since then, it's gone down, and the education in America has just fell apart. But this is what they wanted to do, because they don't want people being smart. They don't want people being educated, because an educated populace will look beyond the propaganda. They'll recognize it, look beyond it, start research. That's why they don't like folks like us who actually go and do research. That's why they had to censor people that were speaking out and showing people different things that are taking place in this country or in this world. So it's all by design.
Mhm.
Everything that they've done with the education is all by design. And
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
great.
my sisters and my sister-in-law, her boyfriend, like they both live in Singapore. They work in Singapore, and he went to Singapore's top college, which is like an internationally renowned college, right? And he got straight A's, top of his class, extremely competitive in aviation aerodynamics. He cannot find a job
Wow.
because so many people like push themselves to the literal breaking point, and many people get extremely good marks because of how the culture is in other parts of the world,
Right.
and they still struggle to like get in the door. So he's taking
Yeah.
like right now he's taking additional college courses and stuff. I mean, he's still straight A's, but it's like he's taking on completely unrelated things to pad his degree. Right.
Well, did y'all hear about coming up? Is it this coming Friday, where teachers across the nation are taking the day off of teaching our students so they can go and protest?
Protest what?
I don't know exactly what they're protesting. I don't know if it's another No Kings,
Um,
but they are taking this Friday off to go protest. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but I know they're doing it here in the county that I live in. The teachers in this county,
really?
yeah, here in North Carolina, they have requested to take this Friday off so they can go out and protest. So instead of doing their job and at least trying to teach our children something, which hell, a day off from them will probably be a good thing. But yeah, it's all been done by design. And how does this tie in to fueling political violence? Well, if you have this leftist globalist ideology seeping into our school system, it starts programming people and brainwashing people to believe that these are the things that they have to go do to protect democracy. So
No, they're brainwashed because they're thinking they're doing something good, but they're really not. When I was going to school, I didn't even know if my teacher was married or if she had kids, let alone her political views. When I went to school, it was just school. We did not
yeah,
know her personal life at all. She did not introduce us or show us pictures about her fam. Nothing. She was
yeah,
just my teacher. That's it.
and that's the way it should be. You should not know. You should not know what your teacher's pronouns are. You all that stuff you just said. Kids don't need to know that. The teacher is there for one reason: teach the kids English, teach the kids math, whatever the subject is. That's your job, nothing else.
Speaking of jobs, it just I wanted to say this last week because this has been on my mind, and I've talked about this on other conservatives podcasts. So get your conspiracy tinfoil hats out. But I am of the theory, because I am Hindu, that the American liberals, the left, they co-opted the Hindu caste system, and I'm going to demonstrate this now. At the top of the caste system is the Brahmin, which are the religious leaders and educators. In America, it's the teachers and the politicians like AOC who teach moral politics, right? Underneath that, you have the Kshatriya caste, where they are soldiers and policemen. In America, on the left, that is Black Bloc, BLM, Antifa. They go out, they protest, they cause fights. Under that, you have the Vashya class, which is the merchant class. In America, that is the left-leaning liberal companies that are pushing DEI. The fourth rung is the Shudra class, which is, the peasants. And in America, that would be, your poor, struggling college student who jumps on board because they feel like they're doing the right thing. Finally, you have the Dalit class, which is the untouchables, right? One of the main castes of the untouchables. And in America, that would be anyone who does not conform to any of the other castes. What do you guys think?
I think that's a very fair comparison.
Yeah, it sounds really good, which is why we sometimes call it a cult.
And I guarantee you, if we did some more research, we would probably find that same level of hierarchy in other nations as well.
Yeah, of
I would
course.
say.
I mean, that exists everywhere. I don't think it's necessarily good or bad. It's about the ideology, because like I've said this before, if the left used what they have for actual good, like America First values, then it would be amazing. They would be effective. They could make real change, but they don't. They use it against their own interests, and they don't even know it because they're so indoctrinated with all the propaganda, and they're being used as pawns. But if they actually took those resources, they can do so much better than what they're doing. And I feel bad because it's like the Democrats were not always like this, in my opinion. They were
They weren't.
real. Right. This is just modern.
Yeah.
This is new stuff.
I even remember that. I remember that in high school. Because in high school, and we're talking like the early 2000s, from 2003 to 2007, right? It was nothing like it was today. Even the gay straight alliance clubs that were in high school, they were just a bunch of kids that went and met up after school, chatted for a bit, and then they went to Mall of America like everybody else did, right? And I remember even the Democrats back then, which... how time flies. But the Democrats back then, when they were even talking about gay marriage, they debated it amongst themselves, and they're like, yeah, well, should we do this? Should we not do this? I mean, yes, we do want the fairness, but how can this backfire? People actually put thought into things. And back then, Democrats were even against things like gay marriage, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
But
I
now
mean,
fast forward to now, and it's like everyone's got like pins and flags and
yeah, and so
Yeah.
and then unfortunately, people see that and they just think it's normal. That's the way it needs to be, or that's the way it should be. This is just the way it is. But they don't stop and ask, how did it get to this point? Why did it get to this point? And who wants it to be at this point? Those are the questions that people don't ask. Most people don't ask. And
But they get angry when the actual, like, those progressive liberals, when they actually agree with some of us on the right, when we both agreed about like free Palestine, for example. That was one unifying moment where we all agreed that Israel was committing a genocide, right? And even then, they didn't, shake hands with us. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would have been a perfect opportunity to unify.
well, if you want to just take this by just one individual issue right now, let's look at voter ID in America. Over 70% of Democrats polling agree
Mhm.
with voter ID.
Right.
Over 70%. And of course, it's higher on the Republican side who support voter ID. But you've got
Mhm.
these people that want to push the agenda, these infiltrators in Congress and Senate, that they don't care what their constituents want. They want to push their own agenda and not
Mhm.
back voter ID. So these are people that should be working for the American people, but they're not. They're putting their own stuff out there and they're trying to brainwash everybody into believing it or accepting it or whatever or allowing
No.
it. That's what they're doing.
Mm-mm. Then you vote them out, and that's our responsibility. So we should be paying attention to who is our representative in our local district, and you watch how they vote, and you call their office, and you leave a message, or you talk to them, write a letter, whatever you have to do, and you vote them out. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So Ruby, anything from the comment section? We haven't talked about the comment section yet.
A lot of people have been following and agreeing. For the most part, I have not seen one comment that was in disagreement.
Okay. All right. So we're going to go into the next segment, going a little bit deeper into this. First, I want to do, we're going to talk about the rhetoric and how they use the rhetoric to fuel the political violence. Now, we have to remember political violence has been around for centuries. Okay. It's been around forever. However, there's a different level of it going on right now in America that I see.
Yeah.
I want to play a clip of Democratic lawmakers calling for violence. And then I want to go into a segment from the Right Report today that talks about this. And now that's 8 minutes long. So when I start that, I'm going to step outside to go smoke a cigarette real quick while we listen to Ryan talk about that real quick. So, all right. So let me go into we're going to go get a little spicy.
And quick question for the chat and for you, Jimmy and Dave. When Trump became president both times, it was the first time in my lifetime that I noticed that type of negativity on the TV with the rhetoric stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And against Trump. But this is the first presidency, and I'm 29 years old, that I have ever seen multiple assassination attempts publicly, that they have to bum rush the stage and take Trump to safety with the Secret Service, like making a huge thing out of it, right? When Obama was president for 8 years, not once can I remember Obama being rushed off a stage or Secret Service, having to like literally drag them out from wherever they were. I have never seen that with Obama.
The only thing that I can remember, Ruby, I remember the shooting of Reagan. I was like 8 at the time. I remember that. Then there was nothing else. Not to say that there would have probably been some assassination attempts that we didn't know about. We didn't have the internet back then. Plus, I really wasn't paying attention to stuff back then either. The only other thing I saw, I didn't see anything with Bush 1. Didn't see anything like this with Clinton. The only thing I saw with Bush 2 was when he went overseas and some Iraqis were throwing shoes at him.
Yeah.
All that.
I love that clip. That's my favorite clip ever.
Great. And then with Obama, yeah, you didn't see this stuff. So the question is, why?
Exactly.
Why?
That's my question. Why is it so much with Trump?
So what I can say from just my opinion before we get into this stuff, because all those other folks played ball with the deep state. Trump is not playing ball with the deep state. And I got another clip later this evening where there'll be some historical references to that, talking about McKinley, who was assassinated, and of course, Abraham. I think Abraham Lincoln's in that clip too. So I'm going to talk about that too. So we're building it up here. So we're going to explain all that.
Okay.
All right. So let me do. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
Oh, I just saw a comment that that there's horrible stuff on TV for kids now. K-pop Demon Hunters. I actually like K-pop Demon Hunters. It's really well done.
Yeah, the stuff on TV for kids is ridiculous. All right, where do I need to go first? I think I need to go to X first. Let me share my X screen.
Okay, Slim says 2 attempts made on Gerard Ford. Trump isn't only one. No, I'm not saying he's the only one. We know that.
Yeah, we're not saying
plenty of assassination. I'm talking about the public assassination attempts where they have to rush everybody and do a whole, like when the cameras are rolling. That's when everything happens. That's what gets me like, what's going on? This is not normal.
Right. It's been more of a public scene than was in the past.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, all right. So first we're going to play this 2.5 minutes of Democrats calling for the use of political violence. After this clip, we're going to go into the Wright report and what he says about that. And then we'll discuss that before we move into the next segment. So, All right. So let me get this playing. Let me do this
right up to the right.
I thought he should.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
Biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said, if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look, as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight. And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome. anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Okay, I have so much to say on this.
Yeah,
I started laughing. I started laughing from the get-go because, first of all, Trump is not a dictator. I've said this before and I've said it again. Americans do not know what a dictator is.
Correct.
Come with me to India. I will show you a dictator. Come here to Mongolia, where the government's kind of in shambles. We still have more of a dictator than Trump. You don't know what a dictator actually is. And this is compounded by the fact that, what was her name? Kathy Lee Gibbard or whatever, held up like a decapitated like Trump head.
Oh, yeah.
If you do that here...
What's her name? Kathy Griffin.
Yeah.
Kathy, thank you. If you do that here, in this part of the world, in between Russia and China,
you're dead.
Your family will never find your body.
Exactly.
Ever.
Oh my God.
Okay. I mean, I'm trying to not be too graphic here, but that's how it is.
Yeah.
America has freedom of speech, arguably to the point of its own detriment. We could have a conversation
Right.
about that. But arguably, that's protected by freedom of speech, right?
Right.
Other countries have freedom of speech. You don't do that here at all. And I'm just shocked at like all the politicians saying that, because no other like politicians in other countries don't do that. And I'm just sitting here, I was thinking the whole time of my experience where I, accidentally overstayed my visa because of the Nut Dom festival, right? I thought I'd have time after the festival to go and, apply for, back then, my marriage, my F1 residency. No, actually. They were very polite and they were very firm, and the Mongolian guards with AK-203s kind of drove the point home. And that's just for an overstay. That's not, And I mean, I understand that. That's fine.
Yeah. It's understandable.
It's understandable because, they don't know my intentions, and that's fine.
I have to add this.
Go to that extreme and nothing happens? Really? Like, really?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, this one right here, too.
I have to add this to your list, Jimmy. So
Okay.
if you guys haven't already seen this, this was posted on the 26th. Jimmy Kimmel. The most recent video that we can add.
Yeah.
Our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
All right, so yeah, that was okay. She was not there. That was all clipped together and everything. He was pretending like she was there. He was pretending like she was there in the audience. But for what he said, oh yeah, he got slammed for that.
Yeah, that she has the glow of an expectant widow.
So those clips literally show everybody that these individuals are calling for violence. They want that. Remember before when I said that the deep state only has a couple of plays left here: chaos and destruction. That's what they have. And assassination, chaos, destruction. That's all they have. They can't win at a ballot box. They can't win an election without cheating. So they have nothing of any substantial value to run on right now. So the only thing they have left is violence and chaos and fear. That's it. And so they have. Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in, but I'm almost wondering if it's like part of it is greed, right? Because we looked at the Communist Manifesto earlier, right? And everything that they said is a long game, right? It's a long game. You need to wait a few generations.
Yep.
So they started it, but it feels like, and I could be done wrong, but it feels like, those particular people are starting to get impatient. It's like, we don't want to wait generations. We want to see it now. So let's switch to chaos and destruction, as opposed to countries like China, for instance. China's playing the very long game and is still playing the long game with Taiwan, because what we're seeing in Taiwan, and I saw this in the news recently, where leaders of Taiwan went to China to discuss reunification. Why? Because more and more younger people are saying we want to unify with China.
Right.
And these are people my age and younger. And of course, they're having kids, and you'll see 10-year-olds who are, you know, their parents take them to China. They love it. They want to live there. So given another 10 years, they will grow up and they will want unification on top of that while the older generation gets phased out. That's
Right.
the long game, but it seems like they're trying to speed it up.
So in my opinion, what I see happening with the whole speed up thing is yes, they've been wanting to play the long game. I don't think they wanted to speed things up the way they have, but because they know the playbook that Trump is using to dismantle the deep state and disenfranchise the globalist agenda, they're trying everything they can to get that power back.
Yeah, out of desperation.
Yeah, this is desperation. I think Born JW said they are afraid. And so when they say, "Oh, we got to fight for democracy," no, what they're talking about is, "Oh, we want you guys to fight for our deep state globalist agenda." They call
But
it.
there's two things. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But there's two things that we gotta bring up. Everything that we just saw only happened recently, very recently. Do any of you guys remember any of this being said when Obama was president? Did they talk about Michelle Obama in that way? Did they make these dark humor jokes about Obama and Michelle on public television, on late night shows? Did any of these jokes fly back then when Obama was president? Because I have never seen that. Like I've seen comedy, right? Making fun of politicians, but nothing of the sort with this dark humor about people dying, people being killed or shot.
When Hollywood is part of the system, they're going to support a president that is part of this system as well, and they're not going to speak negatively of him.
Right.
But you have somebody like Trump, who is not part of this system, who has slowly been dismantling it. Y'all can say what you want in the chat. I've got proof of all that. They're going to attack him because they're the soldiers in this little war for the country. So,
right, but even Republican presidents of before, like even before Obama, I have never heard these types of jokes being said about a Republican president before.
Well, that's because
I don't even know what would happen if we go back to my high school years or our adult, young adult years, and a politician said that. I would think that's political suicide.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I could see them getting thrown out.
If on the Democratic side of things, if JFK was alive today, he would be hated by the current Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He would be hated. Why?
As he was back then. The same thing.
Yeah, because he fought the system, and we're going to talk more about that here in a second. All right, so let's go into the Wright report. I'm looking at, I'll just read some of the comments. Let's go into the Wright report. This is about 8 minutes long, so I'm going to start playing
yes.
it.
Yeah, cue it up, because the second thing that I was going to say was that desperation card. What they're not taking into account is the majority of Americans are psychopathic killers. Okay, we are not those. Are like the Hillary Clinton types. They got no problems. Average American, we're not psychos. So this whole desperation card that they're trying to play on television, it's never going to work. it's not even funny because we're not psychopaths. When somebody says a joke like that in real life, everybody would look at you and like, really, like we would give you a such a look, like, why would you say something like that? You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
they're doing it on TV and they're thinking that it's passing, as if it's just funny, it's just a joke. No, we don't joke like that in the
Yeah.
real world. That is almost like a passive aggressive threat.
Exactly.
So what are you trying to do here? And that's
think
how I know that it's manufactured. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, well, I was going to agree with you. It's manufactured, but I think it's so. Jimmy talked about Hollywood, and going off of what you're saying, I think part of the long game is to desensitize people in America to violence specifically.
Oh, totally.
Right.
Right.
Because it's like you if you're around dark humor enough, best case scenario, you end up, more like me, where you make those jokes on occasion, but it just doesn't, you don't feel anything.
Right.
Worst case scenario is you have people that actually get fired up and motivated by it, and it's like a
Yes.
dopamine hit. They seek out more, and then they go off and do things.
Thank
Right. So
Right.
I think that's why they're doing it, is to like, because like American media is like extremely like gory and violent compared to like
Yep.
many countries. So yeah, so it's like you can make those jokes, and that's probably why people aren't calling them out, is because your average, I'm going to say like your average like mainstream person, right?
Right.
Because I can't speak to a full Christian upbringing, but like your average mainstream person, they grow up in public schools, they hear dark humor, they grow up
Right.
watching violence on TV, they go through college watching TV, violent TV. There's dark humor on the internet, there's websites all about this. And then the politicians say it. The average mainstream person is just so used to it, it's literally a part of their whole life.
Exactly. And you think about, I remember when, I was there when video games came out. To show my age, I was there when Atari came out. But for like the first, I don't know, 5-10 years of video games, they were pretty decent,
Right.
But then all of a sudden, like in the mid 90s, they just started getting way more violent, way
Violent.
more gory. And so
Yep.
you have kids that are growing up playing these video games, see violence there. Like Dave said, they go to school, they hear about it there, they watch it on TV, they hear it in the music. It's like the rap music was put into the black society to fester problems with the cops. It was meant to create violence in that community.
And destroy their culture.
Destroy their culture. Yes, exactly. So just like Dave said, then you have the politicians saying this stuff like we just saw. Then you have somebody sitting back in their basement or in their classroom here. Well, man, maybe I need to go and do something about this, because it's just I need to go. I'll be a hero if I go out and do something like this.
Exactly.
So
I agree with that, because I grew up in the era of Call of Duty chat lobbies, and every time I see I just see the Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and a list of usernames. They're all queued up, ready to get into a match, and I just hear the profanity and racial slurs in my brain.
Yeah,
because the
Exactly.
moment that screen comes on, the mic comes on, and everyone just lets loose at no one in particular.
Right, exactly. Just real quick, somebody, Jimmy, who did that to the CIA? Not only did the CIA bring drugs into the black community, but they also helped create the rap music to be in the community as well. So that's a whole.
Well, yeah, and I mean the CIA worked with like old corporate executives, because if you look at like rap, it originally started more like R&B. It was more
Right.
like poetic. But then when these, corporate execs started like buying these music records, then that switch happened, right? So the corporate execs are getting paid from both ways, and they can manipulate.
Yeah,
So,
and the
yeah.
majority of them are Jewish. So once you start putting all the pieces of the puzzles together, you
Mhm.
start seeing the bigger picture, and that's what we're getting at. And you
Yeah.
know what? that's it, it all goes back into the parenting styles, like Dave mentioned, I've mentioned, Jimmy. We talk about this a lot because it starts in the home with a mother and a father. You need both to create that foundation and stability, and you protect your children from that propaganda.
Yeah.
So when you're sitting at the dining room table and you're eating dinner, and one of your kids, and this is exactly what happened in my house, and one of your kids says, "Hey, can I have some of that?" and the other one says, "No, commie, are you a communist?" That's how you're supposed to be. That's how you're supposed to be teaching your kids, so that they notice these things quickly, with a swiftness. They see something and they're like, "Mommy, is that guy gay?" Yeah, it's like that's how you have to teach your kids. But I digress. Jimmy
Yeah.
has a clip, a video for us to watch.
Yeah, let's go into this clip right here because I really got to use the bathroom. So this is from the Wright Report this morning. It's about 8 minutes long, but listen up, take notes, so we can share our comments at the end of it. And let's go.
And Gail just joined us.
Hi.
Gail, do you want to say anything real quick before we start this?
Yeah, as a mother, a parent, and a grandparent, when my children were small, we had no cell phone, and we all ate at the dinner table together as a family, which when I went to my daughters with my three, everybody was on the damn cell phone. And I kind of got upset and said, look, this is family time. Get off the damn phone and sit and have dinner with the rest of us. And I believe that technology has its great, excellent points, but it also has its very evil points, because kids have access to the internet. Parents, it's their responsibility to monitor what their children are listening to, what they're viewing, and what they're doing. I mean, I was a Hawkeye with my kids when they were growing up. And I have to say today, I'm very proud of my children. They're all very successful. Well, other so, but my other two are very, very successful adults. And I believe this because I got involved. I was a Brownie leader. I was also an outreach worker for the community. And I really think, I know parents have to work more than one or two jobs to make ends meet, but your family comes first. And that's how I feel even today. My family comes first and foremost. Even when I was at JW, I never shunned my children. Never. My door's always open to my children. And what's happening in society, the breakdown society, I think it's been said over and over again, when the family unit breaks down, because that's the strongest unit in the world, these societies crashes. And we're seeing that full force today with the violence, the evilness, the hatred is terrible. I mean, I worked in mental health for a long time, but I would never go back today with what's going on with people today. And everybody, what I'm seeing and hearing, and I talk to a lot of people are giving up. And they're sitting in front of the couch. They're vaping all day long. A lot of people are depressed that I talk to. And it's very sad because a lot of people are giving up because they feel that there's no hope for us. But
exactly.
It's really
I think
sad.
punishment by the family kind of went out the window.
Yes.
Like corporal punishment. I'm just going to say it. I'm pro spanking.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, I agree.
I mean,
Yes.
literally, I got broken bones by my father, right, when I misbehaved, right? Never did that again. I need surgery on my nose because
Oh gosh, that's
I get headaches from when he actually punched me when I misbehaved, and never did that
That's
again.
too much, but
That's too much.
yeah, that's
Is it though?
too
Because
much.
it works.
No. Hey,
no.
I'm sorry. If you're punishing your child by breaking their nose or breaking their bones, I'm sorry. In my view, that's child abuse. Now,
all I'm going to say is
You'd be arrested today for it. I mean, I got strapped, but you'd be arrested today for some of the stuff that
oh yeah.
kids
Now,
in my neighborhood had to deal with.
sorry, G,
I
sorry.
agree with the disciplining and spanking, but I don't believe in beating your kids up and hitting them in the
Yeah.
face. But here's what's
No,
happening.
no.
They're going to push corporal punishment because in Idaho, effective July 1st, they're going to have firing squads for any child molesters, and that's going to take effect. You can look that up.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that on a future episode because
Yeah, don't listen
all I'm
to
going to say
me.
on that is like I deserved it, and I'm a very big believer in it's situational, right?
well, if you
It's
were
very
being a little
situational.
ass, then okay.
There's
Yeah,
other,
like
there's other ways to discipline your children.
Yeah, right.
It's called
So-
tough
Go ahead.
love. Take things away. I don't know. Take the door off the bedroom. That's what I did.
I got spanked a lot when I was a kid, and I got grounded. And the spankings, and I only remember one time my dad slapping me in the face because I said something was screwed up, and I got slapped for saying that. So that was the only thing I remember as far as getting slapped. But spankings, yes, I remember those very well. So, all
I
right.
would like to say, in conclusion, that I would rather sometimes get spanked than get emotionally abused and put down all my life.
Oh yeah, I would rather that myself too.
My mother emotionally abused me, and I'd rather get smashed than the horrible things that were said to me growing up, because that stays with you for a long time.
Yeah, I agree with that too, Gigi. All right, so let's go into this clip. Let me see, why is it not? Let me close it out real quick. Sorry, guys. Let me go back into it. Resume. Okay, here we
Everything
go.
done
political
in
rhetoric,
moderation.
including that from the House Democrat
Here we go.
minority leader, Hakeem Jeffries, who would sure like the majority with these various gerrymanderings. We'll remember, as we covered yesterday, that Mr. Jeffries said last week that, quote, "We are in an era of maximum warfare everywhere, all of the time," end quote. He was responding to some reporters yesterday about that, who were pressing him on the fact that his rhetoric there is inciting violence, either intentionally or kind of with a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, all because of, naturally, his fellow Democrats who just tried to assassinate Trump on Saturday. But he's claiming this morning that his words last week were about warfare that were taken out of context, and that he was saying that the redistricting and taking these various House seats, like in Virginia, have got to be done with maximum warfare everywhere and all the time, peacefully, of course, but kind of warfare-ish. When he was asked, though, if he now views that language as being inappropriate, given the assassination attempt, and the similar rhetoric, by the way, of his fellow Democrats of calling Trump a Nazi, Hitler, fascist, and so forth, Mr. Jeffries said yesterday, no, he regrets nothing, and neither does his party. As he said, quote, "I stand by my maximum warfare comment, and I don't give a damn about your criticism," end quote. Ooh, spicy. Pivoting now from those facts and data to some analysis and opinion, let's talk about what this all means. And I really want us all to reflect this morning on my episode yesterday and think about how this redistricting fight fits into this idea and the rhetoric of America's political warfare. And I want to start with this. Do y'all remember the impeachment articles that were drafted against Trump years ago? You might remember that in those reasons to impeach the president, they listed the fact that Trump had said in a speech that, quote, "If you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore," end quote. That reference was enough for Democrats and some Republicans to impeach and try to remove Trump from office. And yet, as I shared yesterday and again today with Mr. Jeffries, we have Democrats using similar, if not exact, sets of phrasing and words, or far worse. So let me add a few more examples today, including Democrats saying that, quote, "there needs to be unrest in the streets," and that, quote, "I don't know why there aren't more uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be," and that, quote, "we are in a war right now to save this country, and so you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country," end quote. All of those comments came from Democrats, namely Representatives Ayanna Pressley, Nancy Pelosi, and of course, Senator Chris Murphy. My point here is that this rhetoric is actually quite common, but the outrage is only when the other guys do it. Okay, so politicians are hypocrites. Not exactly a shocker. But that is not where this conversation or this debate should end. We should expand on this today, and we shall, and ask this: whose rhetoric is actually leading to a base of voters that in turn are engaging in or believing in or justifying violence? In other words, if we were to try to assign blame here for actual death, injuries, and damages after violent rhetoric, whose side is causing the most bad stuff to occur? Well, let's dig into that. Yesterday, you might remember that I shared polling from Rutgers University that over half of Democrats believe that it is fully or partially justifiable to kill Donald Trump. So that kind of seems relevant here as we're weighing who is worse. But there's more. We also have survey data by Marquette University that about 15% or so of Democrats say that political violence can be justified in largely any scenario, while just 6% of Republicans say the same. But digging into that issue and these numbers, we've got a separate poll from YouGov that shows that younger Democrats, like the most recent Trump would-be assassin, are vastly more likely to embrace and justify political violence than Republicans. But wait, there's still more. We'll recall that we've got data from the Center for Strategic and International Studies showing that left-wing violence in America is now more prominent today than right-wing violence, and that Democrat embrace of death and destruction, that is growing, not shrinking, certainly more so than Republicans or conservatives. So taken all together, this data tell me something quite important, that while violent political rhetoric is bad, and also the innuendos of the violence, that's also bad, for whatever reason, the rhetoric and the innuendos are landing and sticking more with Democrats versus Republicans, especially younger Democrats. And then, of course, they're using violence. And that is what Hakeem Jeffries and leftists don't want to talk about. They know that their base, for whatever reason, hears a violent dog whistle when these politicians on the left say things like, quote, "We are an era of maximum warfare, everything and everywhere, all of the time." And Jeffries shouldn't be allowed to wiggle out of that by saying, as he did yesterday, oh, I was just talking about the redistricting effort in Virginia or Texas or Florida, whatever. No, as it happens, maximum warfare everywhere, anywhere, all of the time lands in the ears and the eyes of Democrats. And it's taken literally by a shocking and pretty sticky number of his base, far more than Republicans. And folks, that is why this redistricting effort and the gerrymandering stuff, to me, really matters. The fight itself and who wins gives us a really good window into the world that we will all have if Democrats regain power this coming November. It also helps us understand what happens if they lose. The data that I've been presenting this morning and yesterday and for several years now tells us that they are a lot more apt to engage in violence. It's not just, a bunch of sore losers who like to whine. And I would say to you that the reason for this predilection for violence comes down to my central argument that I offered yesterday, that we are up against an Islamic Marxist revolution in the Democrat Party. So the warfare that they're talking about, it's not just rhetorical, it's a revolution. So look, if all of that sounds at least somewhat reasoned and documented, please, as ever, check the transcripts. Well, we should be honest about that. And we need to do our version of fighting, which is not by shootings and bombings like the Democrats know, but rather by grabbing like-minded folks who are around us at gyms and churches and the rest, organizing locally, donating our cash to primary candidates that we love and support, and take control of our cities and counties. That is the fight that I want us to wage, and that's the one I've been talking about for years now, as we understand that the data show that we are up against, ladies and gentlemen, a very evil leftist ideology that, if you look at history, has killed tens of millions of people over the past 125 years. So let us fight. And let us fight that fight with new friends and organization and money and at the ballot box. And yes, let me be very clear, let us also be prepared to defend ourselves physically if Democrats come knocking, as they are, for death and destruction. Because that's what rational people would do, certainly given what we know. Now, look, on one final personal note,
okay. All right. So what did y'all think about that?
Unmute.
You're unmuted. Ruby, what did you think about that?
I didn't even know Jeffries said something like that.
Yeah, he just said it like a couple days ago.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't even know he said something like that. But
So the biggest takeaway from there is what we've already talked about this evening about how they're trying to normalize this rhetoric and inspire people to go and do their bidding. That's basically
right. That's what I was gonna say, because this is what they want. They want this military, whatever he said, like their presence or whatever. But no, I disagree 1,000%.
And this is why that I have said many times that, things are going to get worse. There are going to be riots in the street, whether it be the summer or whether it be around the midterms. I'm thinking it may be around the midterms, and then we're going to see this. But then there's some other stuff that's supposed to happen when that takes place as well. But what he said makes a lot of sense, because they've basically been grooming people to accept this ideology and make it okay when it's not.
No, they're psychopaths. Like I said before, they are psychopaths that want to see this 1984 type stuff where there's like military on the ground and a police state. I mean, we kind of already are in something like that, but they want those optics.
What the deep state what they want complete control. They want that military presence in all the streets. That's what they want. Dave, in Mongolia, do they have troops in the streets? I don't know. That's why I'm asking. I know in China they do. They don't have it there. Okay.
No, like you'll see like troops walking around just like you will in America, but the police don't carry weapons.
Okay. All right. Do the people have weapons there?
Some people have weapons. You can buy it. Although gun culture here is very, very different. Most people choose not to have guns, but I did look it up, and I even joked about this with my wife. I introduced her to the internet meme, the shower gun, right? Where it's like a picture of an American home, and it's got like a gun in the shower, and like, right? And I'm like, I looked up and I asked her, I'm like, I saw online that I could buy an AK-47 fully automatic. I just have to register it as like part of a collection, but I could buy all the ammo I want. I can buy fully automatic military grade weapons as long as I register it. I showed her the meme, and I'm just like, as a joke, I'm like, yeah, can I get one in the shower? And she just looks at me confused, and she's like, you can, I just don't know where you put it. She literally said that, and I'm like, I'm so glad I married you. Right? But yeah, here gun culture, it's like the nomads will have like rifles and things. Some have weapons. Here in UB, not so much. Violent crime is extremely low to begin with due to a very different culture.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, appreciate you sharing that with us, because I always like to know about different areas and what it's like there. All right. So we have seen the rhetoric. We have heard the dog whistles. We know who has been promoting this. We understand why they're doing this. We know we have an idea on individuals that are funding all of this stuff too. And it's not just one person. I mean, it goes into many different, and SPLC is just one organization that they're using to fund this political rhetoric. Now, let's go into a little bit on the shooter. I'm going to play a clip on a guy talking about the shooter and some of the different things. We're going to talk about that now and see what people have to say about it.
Yeah. All right. So before I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jimmy.
So I was just going to say what was getting ready to come up. So we're going to talk about the shooter, his little background that we have, some of the information that's come out about that. We'll talk about the event. And then I want to play the final clip I have for the evening. I think it's the final clip. Yeah. From Susan Kokenda, who talks about the hidden hand behind the Trump assassination attempt. And then we'll get into that. Before we do that, the clip that I play about Susan Kokenda, I can't remember who said it last time I played her video. Said that she was AI. No, this woman she's real. She's been in the political sphere for over 50 some years. Very intelligent woman. So, she's 100% real. So anyway, what were you going to say, Ruby?
Okay, so we gotta just address the comments really quickly.
Okay.
Oh boy, I think I know what you're going to address. I think I know what you're going to address. 2 comments
Okay.
specifically.
Yeah, so Kimberly Moore is in the chat. And just really quickly, I'm going to put the link just in case if you want to join up, Kimberly, or if anybody else wants to join up, because she makes some comments about Christianity and then makes the claim that that's why she's happy her president is Christian or something to that effect. And I was like, who, Trump? And I don't think she was here a couple weeks ago when we kind of went over this about Trump. I would not say he is Christian. I do not consider him a Christian at all. I do not consider most Christians who claim to be Christian are Christian. So, this is why I don't like it when people say stuff like this. They just want to throw that title everywhere. People say, oh, yeah, I'm Christian, but then they're gay. Oh, yeah, I'm Christian, but then they go against biblical morals or values, right? So
I got called a Christian on the podcast, surprisingly, just because I said, yeah, I mean, what Trump is doing makes sense, right? And it's good for America. Right. And immediately people are like, oh, cool. So I go to this church. What church do you go to? And like started asking me like, how I had faith in Christ. And I'm like, all I did was say that Trump is a good president. I don't know
exactly.
how.
No.
It's weird.
No. That doesn't make you a Christian.
I think unfortunately, too many people use that and they just and they use it for labeling. It's like me, my values fall in line with what Trump's doing and everything. There's people that go to church, my values fall in line with theirs. Does that mean I'm a Christian? No, I don't subscribe to any religion. And yes, Christianity is a religion. Me personally, I don't think you need religion to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ.
True, right? But then they want to insert this into politics as if it's going to help them gain votes. So they try to put on this facade or,
unfortunately, a lot of politicians do that.
Exactly, which is why I don't consider any of them Christian. They're not Christian, even though they say that they are. And I'm very, weary when I hear that from a politician. Oh, I'm Christian. Well, then my follow-up question would be, well, what kind of a Christian are you? Because a lot of Christian denominations call themselves Christian and they're not, according to the Bible, right?
Yeah, some Christians are only Christians on Sunday.
Right, exactly. That's what I mean when I say that, right? So that's what I wanted to just quickly address to Kimberly, and with this comment as well about aligning with Israel. If your church is preaching this, then you're in the wrong church. Okay. The whole evangelical thought process about, oh, Israel is God's chosen land or whatever. Not anymore, honey. Read the Bible again, learn about, when they lost their inheritance. Okay. So anyways, this is why politics sometimes spills into religion and Christianity, which is why I say this every Tuesday, why I'm a Christian nationalist. Those things are important to me. So when I do see these comments, I'm always going to say something, whether you agree with it or not, that's totally fine. But this is the type of people that I dislike very much, because they want to conflate two things as if they go together, and they don't. Okay, these are just political talking points trying to use the Bible to bend their morals and standards to make it to justify the alliance with Israel, to justify what Israel is doing when it's wrong.
But see, that goes back to, we didn't mean to get on this topic. Sometimes we'll say a few things and we'll move on. But that's exactly the creation of the Bible back in the Council of Nicaea in 300 or whatever year it was, 312, whatever it was. The Roman Empire needed a way to control the people. So they picked and choose what they wanted, created the Bible, passed it out to everybody, and said, this is the word of God. This is how we're so they did it for their own political benefit, is how they acted and what they did. We see that same thing being played out today.
Well, it's not just to control the people, but literally because Rome was collapsing, they needed a way to like control their own structure.
Exactly.
Like the internal structure. So yeah, it was for the people. But at the end of the day, even internally in the politics and in the military, because they had so many different peoples from so many diverse backgrounds that were starting to like conflict with each other, they had to come up with something universal to get all the soldiers and all the Senate and like everyone in line.
Yeah.
To avoid just tearing itself apart.
Exactly. Born JD, he said Jimmy's facial expression is cracking me up. That's because, Born, I was laughing at a comment from Terrence when he said Obama ain't a closet Muslim. He's just in the closet.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation, everyone.
Yeah, but go ahead. Sorry.
I got a feeling because I see a shift happening right now with some of the narratives and what's going on right now. I got a feeling we're going to end up doing several episodes about Obama here within the next 2 or 3 months, because I see some stuff playing out that people need to know about. So that's for the future. Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas just joined us, and then I have this 1 minute clip that I just want to share really quickly about to Kim in the chat. That this is my type of Christianity.
My Christianity is not the cowardly wimpy Christianity that you want to make it. My Christianity is the Christianity that defeated Islamic Jihad 3 times. My Christianity is the Christianity that conquered the Roman Empire. My Christianity is the kind of Christianity that defeated the pagan Vikings and the northern pagan tribes. My Christianity is the kind of Christianity that defeated the Ottoman Empire, that defeated the Arab invasion of the 7th century, that defeated the Arab invasion in Andalusia, in Spain. Do you see? He sees it. Oh no, this is where you're wrong, because the Ethiopian Christians who follow my kind of Christianity defeated the Muslim invasion from Somalia and Egypt. My Christianity is the one followed by the Armenians and the Georgians who defeated the Persians, Zoroastrians, and the Muslims. My Christianity is not for wimps. You're complaining about it because you are. My Christianity.
So my advice would be to people who want to bring Christianity into these types of topics, just do your history, do your research on history, on church history, and understand what true Christianity is. And that's why I like that clip from that young man, because that's how I feel deep down inside. Okay, Dallas, you can unmute if you want. If you have something to share, go right ahead.
Well, that's a nice point. This obsession with Israel, it get out of control right there. It does. It get out of control, and it ain't even biblical. All it is loyalty to the party. That's it.
Exactly. So yeah, that's why I feel like they just want to use Christianity as a crutch to justify their alliance with Israel, despite everything that Israel has been doing. We've seen it with our own 2 eyes. It's been happening ever since the inception of the state of Israel, and that's why I'm anti-Israel.
I am too, and it's nothing but a voting bloc, and Israel was the worst country to ever be created, and we'd be better off without it.
All right, Jimmy, you can share whatever you wanted to share.
Yeah, let's get kind of went on a tangent there a little bit, but that's what happens when this show takes place. We never know where we're going to go.
Yeah, it's live.
Yeah.
We are live. So,
Yeah, so-
you know.
So, all right. So let's go back to the topic that we were discussing, the political violence and everything. What we wanted to do now was go into a guy talking about the shooter. We can have everybody's comments on what they think about that. And then we're going to go into the historical reference of it. So let me go here. Let me share screen. And where was that one at? That one was on TikTok. Share. All right, where's he at? Okay, it's this dude right here. Okay.
Interesting. When they released the video last night of the shooting, the first thing I said to my wife was he ran through there like my nephew does when he plays Call of Duty. Interesting enough, yeah, that's what this guy did. He played video games. He actually developed his own video game based on the same types of scenarios. This guy was highly educated. He had an engineering degree from a prestigious university, a master's degree. He had a fellowship that he received from NASA for their propulsion systems. He thought this out because he took a train from California to DC, probably to avoid security. He booked things in the area well in advance because he knew he wouldn't have been able to do it last minute. So this was obviously planned for a long period of time. He probably knew the stupidity of the security that they use. Instead of setting the systems up outside, they were inside. So thank God this guy didn't have an explosive. But why is it that's these quote unquote educated type people? Why is it they come from these places like California? He was probably a loner, spent his entire life on a computer system and on social media, and was constantly fed the never-ending bullshit from the left about how bad Trump is, how he has to be stopped, how he's a dictator, how he's authoritarian, how he's like Schmittler. And that's what you get.
Okay. All right. So he points out the thing that we've been talking about, how these people, this guy was educated. He was a teacher. And so this just goes to show that this propaganda and rhetoric that they are using, you have highly educated people falling for it.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about that?
I think this is all staged, honestly.
I kind of think it was staged too, because
Yeah.
I saw pictures of this, and J Mars in the comments said he was found without a shirt on, right? And then, like, from what I've seen online, when he gets through the first layer of security, he doesn't try and like blend in. He just opens fire, which, you know, it's like going to military base to like take out the general inside of the base, and you just like start going after the tower guards. Like, you're not gonna make it through. Right.
No, yeah, it's sloppy. It's an amateur. He's retarded, honestly.
Yeah,
Like-
and there's a couple points. Yeah, there's a couple points I want to bring up. The second thing is to Jimmy's point, and like what the guy was saying was like, he's educated. Define educated, because I feel like the word educated has lost all meaning. Right. And it's just,
I can agree with that.
because it's like, what is he educated in? Is he educated in like sociology? Okay, well, that's like, people could argue that's not a real education, right? And we don't clarify what education means. Like, you ask me, what am I educated in? Accounting and finance, right? A real tangible study that has like been used throughout history. That is an education, right? So I'm curious to what he was educated in.
I guess to that point real quick, Dave, I guess when you hear, when people, normal people hear, oh, well, he went to Harvard or he went to Yale or he has this contract with NASA, most people will just accept that as this person being an educated individual. See what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. You know, people have got asked those questions that Dave just said. Hey, you know, how was he educated? What was he educated in? Just don't tell us he was educated and because he went to Harvard or Yale or anything like that.
But you can be educated and still suffer from mental illness.
Yes.
So just
Yes.
because you're educated doesn't mean that you're immune to mental illness. He obviously is mentally ill.
Or was
And
on drugs or both.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of factors that comes into play. But like I said earlier, why is it that this is only happening when Trump is president? Like this is the third time that I can count.
Because Ruby, he's fighting the deep state system.
Yeah, but this is not deep state level attempts. This is amateur, retarded level attempts. Like
It's sleeper cells. It's sleeper cells.
Yeah, they're sleeper cells. That's why a lot of that rhetoric that's spoken, a lot of that rhetoric is to, flip the switch for these people. Let's go back to MK Ultra programming. They have it to where a person, they hear a word and it activates them.
Right, triggers.
Yeah.
So how do we know that he's not been MK Ultra? We don't know that.
Well, they mentioned the No Kings, that he was part of that.
He was part of that. So,
I personally think it was a publicity stunt. And I don't know, how did he get through the supposedly tight security after they learned their lesson from the Pennsylvania
See, the thing is they didn't. The security, that's one thing that I will say on this. When the Butler thing happened,
yes,
the Pennsylvania thing, Ruby, what was the first thing I said to you about that?
That it wasn't like real. Like
this
is just a scared. Like it's a scare tactic to scare you.
It was staged. There was a reason why that happened. Okay, this situation, I think both parts are true. I think this was an amateur that was activated to carry out this act. However, I look at this a little bit different than I do Butler, because there's so much surveillance that maybe, just go with me here, my opinion, maybe the White Hats got information that this was going to go down and they were able to get in front of it and set that stuff up to make it, let it play out the way it did.
Yeah, and I mean that wouldn't surprise me because it's like
it.
Everyone on the planet knows the American Secret Service is the world's best at protecting its president. There is no comparison globally to the Secret Service, right? I mean, supposedly, yeah, but we talk about like MK Ultra, the technology and things like that is not available to the public, right? And like, it would not surprise me if this dude, like all the other mass shooters, started running his mouth in a Discord channel, or like, posted it on Facebook, and someone somewhere saw it, and then it went through whatever chain it goes through, and then they set it up to be that way.
Did y'all read his manifesto?
No.
Yeah, it's stupid, and like I said, this is why I think he's retarded and probably a narcissist, is because these people think that everybody needs to know what they're feeling or thinking. Nobody cares about what you're feeling or thinking, and they think that by doing something as big as this, that it's going to make a difference, when it's really not. I mean, he knew damn well he wasn't going to get that far, and he even said it. So this is why it makes me think that they're allowing this to happen on purpose, because it's another amateur, it's like another weak attempt to make it look like Trump is being targeted very much so right now. But I think it's just the incompetence of whoever's in charge right now, because
that could also be true.
I mean, because if, like what you said, Dave, if the Secret Service is so good, then why does this keep happening? So no, I don't believe that they're as good as they say that they are, or they are purposefully giving Trump the worst team ever to handle.
I think you're right on that one, because
on purpose.
Who knows whose side these guys are on?
Exactly. They
right.
I do believe that members of the Secret Service can be bought and paid for as well.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, that's also a possibility.
That's ridiculous. It is ridiculous, because who can be trusted if it's not the White House chef or the Secret Service, people who are supposed to be feeding and protecting our president? If we can't trust them, then what are we doing here? Like
See,
it makes me feel like I'm blackpilled.
there were two different things that I saw that made me start to question. I was like, okay, all right, did they know about this threat beforehand?
Of
And was
course.
everything set up to play out the way it did? And then Trump would be safe because they already neutralized the threat in the beginning, but let's just let this play out. There's two things that gave me reason to believe that. First reason was when Carolyn Levitt was giving an interview before the event. She said, "Oh, this is going to be a great speech tonight. The president, this is going to be a classic Donald J. Trump speech. He's going to be funny. There's going to be some shots fired."
Yeah, she actually said that. I
Yeah.
mean, come on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Come on. This is fake as hell.
So that right there, I was like, oh, see, because to me, I'm always listening for comms. I'm always listening for something. Okay, what are they going to say? Let me hear what they're saying here. So when she said that, that's what caused me to do that. Actually, there were three different things. That was number one. Number two was when Trump and Melania were at the table, and the guy, the magician Osment, was there showing. I saw lip readers catch Trump saying to Melania, allegedly, stay strong. Okay. So we had that. Then you had a picture. Well, there was another thing. I just thought about it. You had Kash Patel sitting in the audience. He wasn't fazed at all. He was just like, yeah, whatever. He was just sitting there. And then there's a picture of one of the secretaries and his wife going out, but in the background, you see Trump standing behind the curtain. There's a curtain, and Trump is standing behind it, looking out into the ballroom.
I don't think that was him. I saw that photo.
Oh, there's also a picture of that one bald dude grabbing his wife's breast, like as they're running out.
Oh God!
Yeah. It's a thing. Like, and if you look at the angle, and I thought this was really bizarre because it's like it almost looks posed. Like her hair is flawless, right? Her hair is flawless. Her body's at a nice angle. Like they both look good, and there's just his hand, just like grabbing right here. Right, for the photo. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, this cannot be real.
Yeah,
I
don't know if it's real anymore.
One of the explanations that I heard, and I heard it on X22 last night, and Trump was asked about, why did he not get out before JD Vance? Why was he looking? He said because he wanted to see what was going on, what was playing out. That's what allegedly that he said. So there's just several different things that make me think, yes, this was a real threat, but they got information about it. They neutralized the threat, and then they put on the show as it were. They put on the show about it.
Because like I said, it's going to make Trump look like he is one of the most targeted presidents ever, and that they just miraculously keep missing him. And it's going to prop him up even more than what he already is. And I think that Trump is like that. He cares about that, like his image, his reputation, etc., what people say about him. And the fact that this is all happening, he's going to use it to his benefit, of course. But at the exact same time, it makes all of us question the security, the continued rhetoric, like we just saw the clip. And nothing is being done about that. Yeah. So everybody wants to use it for good optics, but nothing changes. You see what I'm saying? It's like the show goes on over and over and over and repeats.
Yeah, but eventually the show has to come to a stop.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm waiting for, because how many more times are we going to have a on-screen, cameras rolling, another active shooter or assassination attempt, and just act as if this is just another day at the office? Like, no, this is not normal.
Yeah, that was even like, so one of the things that got like raised my eyebrows with the first attempt, right, is the photo of him doing that after he had been like shot in the head. Right, it's like, hold on a second. Second of all, and this was interesting, so I saw stuff online about the ballistics of the bullet and where it hit.
Yeah.
Like it grazed the side of his ear and his ear, and I'm like, wait a minute, cartilage doesn't regrow.
Right.
Because your ear is cartilage, and I'm going to be honest. I have a basic understanding of firearms. I like to go to the range sometimes. I have never heard of a person who has been shot in that part of their head, like even a graze, by a hunting rifle, whose ear magically was untouched.
No,
Yeah,
his ear was definitely touched, but they just fixed it with surgery, plastic surgery, most likely.
Is that a thing? Okay.
I'm sure
I'm
they're
open
gonna
to
take
that.
some skin from somewhere else and then fix his ear with it.
Sure, but I mean, like you can't get the same structure, is what I'm saying. Because you could put skin over it, but there's still like
I
there's
think
still
you'll be surprised what these plastic surgeons can
Oh,
do.
they could
maybe, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm completely open to being wrong here. All I'm saying is cartilage does not regrow, right?
No, I
So
agree.
that's
I know.
why I'm like, I don't know.
No, I just think it's the storyline. You see, Trump lives for things like this. So that's what I'm trying to get at. And they're gonna use it for their storyline. But then average, normal looking people are gonna be like, well, why does this keep happening to Trump? And then they're gonna start
That's the
using
question
it.
people should be asking. Why? And that's why we've
Yes,
been.
but it's like he's doing it on purpose so that people can start thinking because they can't think for themselves. So it's
Exactly.
like they have to create this narrative so that you finally start saying, "Oh my gosh, why does this keep happening? This is not normal."
You know
Because
what,
this hasn't
Ruby?
happened before.
You know what, Ruby? What you just said falls in line with one of the most famous Q posts, which is sometimes you can't tell the people, you have to show them.
Show that right, yeah.
And don't forget, Trump likes to be adored too. So, he got everybody was praising him and poor Trump, and this poor guy went through this and that. Now, here's the thing that's going to happen, everybody. We've got the 250th year anniversary for America. And Trump has this huge 3-day celebration. And my concern is you got a lot of lone wolves in this country. What a perfect opportunity to commit mass murder with crowds. I was thinking of going to Washington, D.C. because my birthday's July 4th. But then I said, well, I don't know if I really want to go there. I'm going to stay in Massachusetts because we've got some of the best fireworks with the Boston Pops. But that's my concern all over the country is the celebration. We've got the Summer Olympics. We've got that's all kinds of events happening on the 250th year. And I'm sure you're going to have some deranged people that have come out protesting, going to ruin it for families, out to have a good time and celebrate. So I'm just concerned about the 4th of July.
And we all should be vigilant on this because like I've said, I'm telling y'all right now, there is going to be some event that pops off. It's going to be major. And it's going to cause riots. I'm telling you right now, this is going to happen.
It's already happening. What you talking about?
It's going to go to another level, Ruby.
I agree with you.
What higher level can we get to?
Well, that was going to be my next point. It's like, what? Timothy McVeigh, right in the 80s, all he had was a U-Haul truck. And how many people did he take out? He completely destroyed that government building.
Yep.
And almost like a quarter mile of all the buildings around it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're all planning right now for the 4th of July.
And I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to be shocked if something were to happen to 47. I'm not going to be shocked. I've already told you guys that I think that might be a scenario that plays out.
Well, the Simpsons got predicted that he's dead in 2026. The Simpsons do.
Yeah, well, I can't. Yeah,
nah,
I can't give it. But I'm just going to say.
No, don't laugh because a lot of things they predicted came true. So
because they were fed that information.
He was created after those events happened.
Pardon me?
Some of the things with the Simpsons things, those things were created after the event happened, and a
lot of it was way before it ever happened.
Well, and some of those clips never made it to the air.
Well, I got to see a whole bunch of stuff. Well, I saw 3.
I'm just saying some of them.
Trump with
but hold on. Shows like that have been fed these events, and then it happened in real life because it was planned.
Exactly.
To happen.
Yeah, I'm sure they were all planned.
That's why I don't buy that. And I don't think Trump, and I don't even think anything really bad is going to happen to Trump, because if we're following the line of thinking with Jimmy's narrative, they know what's coming before it comes, and they're just letting this play out so that it looks to the people to wake up. So he's safe. He's fine.
Trump has health problems. He looks terrible. He looks swollen. His I don't know if it was several months ago, he had swollen hands and ankles. He doesn't look good to me. He really doesn't.
Yeah, he's just old.
Health
That's the
problems.
last interview I saw when he did the other night on 60 Minutes. I thought he looked great on that.
He's old and washed up, but
Yeah,
he
he
does
looks
a
terrible.
good job.
I will say this. I have been telling folks about a scare event. Now, I don't know what the scare event's actually going to be. Could it be something happening to Trump? That's a possibility. I don't know what, but there's going to be something big that pops off. I'm telling you.
There's nothing scarier than 9/11, and it already happened. So
Yeah.
if anything, if anything tops 9/11, then I'll be on board with you, and then I will be the first one to say that it was most likely our so-called allies. Okay, so I wouldn't fall for that psyop.
All right. Okay, so let's go into the next clip. It's 11:23, so give us a chance to watch this one, and then maybe we can finish up by 12 after we comment on this. This is more of a historical reference to things, something else to think about. And like I said, the woman that does do this, she's not AI. Her name is Susan Kokenda. Got a very good resume, in my opinion. So let me go over here. Where'd I have that at? I had it on TikTok. Share. I spend too much time on TikTok. All right, and here we go.
25 years. Because the last 25 years. Because the last president who genuinely threatened the British imperial system was William McKinley. Donald Trump refers to him often because of his terror policies, which the president has revived. And McKinley made the United States the industrial wonder of the world, as Donald Trump is doing. And McKinley understood the importance of the Western Hemisphere, as Trump does. McKinley was assassinated at a Pan-American exposition. McKinley had continued the American system tradition of Abraham Lincoln, and both of those presidents represented everything the British Empire and the City of London feared. McKinley was assassinated in 1901. But he was not the only leader during that period who was assassinated. In 1894, the president of France was stabbed. In 1897, the Spanish prime minister was shot. In 1898, the Empress of Austria was stabbed. 1900, the King of Italy shot. And then in 1901, McKinley shot. They were all killed by anarchists. Now, Great Britain was notorious for safe housing anarchist movements and the assassins they spawned. Which Promethean Actions ebook, it's the British who murder our president's documents. The link is in the description. Now go back to Saturday's attempt. Whatever else emerges, it's clear that Cole operated in a constructed climate of hatred for the man he targeted, just as those anarchists operated over a century ago. And it's no small irony that many of the guests in attendance at the White House Correspondents' Dinner represented the very press who helped construct that climate. You see it in the newspaper and the social media headlines. Trump is an authoritarian, or he's a pedophile. Now, you also have a more diplomatic version, like members of the House of Lords who warn that Trump has, quote, turbocharged the disruption of the international order. But whatever the temperature scale of the rhetoric, it all comes from the same starting point. What Donald Trump is doing is threatening their system. In 125 years, no president has come this close to dismantling the imperial architecture. President Trump has thrown free trade out the window. He's threatening the power and independence of the Federal Reserve. He is closing off the strategic choke points like the Strait of Hormuz. He's replacing London's shipping insurance racket. He's sanctioning their offshore dirty money operations. And he's pulling the plug on NATO. That's what's behind President Trump's statement after the attack on Saturday.
You take a look at what's happened to some of our greatest presidents, and it doesn't happen to people that don't do anything. And it's not going to deter me.
That's a president who knows he's making history. And so do we. Promethean Action will keep you on the stage of history as this battle between the American system and the British system unfolds. So if you want to be equipped with the strategy you need to be part of this fight, subscribe to our free newsletter. Because the enemy understands it too, which is why King Charles is in Washington. The empire knows what's at stake. Here's what Reuters is counting on. King Charles on U.S. mission to bolster UK's special relationship with royalist Trump. They're counting on the continuation of the soft power relationship that the monarchy has cultivated with presidents for 70 years. Like the one Susan Page, the author of the just published book, The Queen and Her Presidents, The Hidden Hand That Shaped History, describes. She says, on her first trip to the United States as a sovereign, Queen Elizabeth II so charmed President Dwight Eisenhower that she managed to mend a breach between their two countries over the 1956 Suez Crisis. Now, Suez was the last time a U.S. president seriously and openly challenged the empire. When France and Britain moved to seize the canal in 1956, Eisenhower told them to stop, and he threatened to crash the British pound. They stopped. And it was the moment Britain discovered it no longer had independent power, and it had to rely on manipulating the United States instead. From then on, it relied on soft power to direct the United States. And Page's new book makes clear that it was Queen Elizabeth herself who wielded that power. Here's Page's description in a recent interview.
So almost every day she would get briefing papers. Every week she would get top secret intelligence documents. And so over the period of decades, she was as informed about intelligence issues around the world as any other person, over a longer period of time than any leader, and even over issues, say, contingency plans for a nuclear war.
This is not a figurehead. Queen Elizabeth got top secret intelligence briefings every day for 70 years. She was in on the nuclear war contingency plans, and you can bet she had the full take on the Five Eyes intelligence operation. And she used it. Page describes how the personal relationship between Elizabeth and Ronald Reagan contributed to Reagan's decision to support Great Britain in the Malvinas Islands crisis with our 25 years.
Okay. So I wanted to share that with everybody to get a little bit of a historical view on this, because what we're seeing play out are the same moves that the deep state has used before to try to manipulate the United States. So that's one of the reasons I do believe King Charles is over here right now trying to, soften Trump up to work with him. And I don't believe that that's going to happen. Now, for optics, Trump may say some stuff that may look like he's buddying up with them. That's why a lot of people say, oh, Trump's, he's a puppet of Israel. Trump is very calculated in what he has to do for the public perception of things. So we're going to see how this plays out over the next week. And maybe next week when we do the show, maybe there'll be some information that'll come out that I can share with you more about this trip.
Yeah, we got to talk about that real quick. So there is a real legit king. And where are all the people for the No King protest?
Yeah, exactly.
They should have been right in front. They should have been front and center in DC protesting no more kings. There is a legit king that gave a speech today to Congress, and everybody is giving a standing ovation, clapping, smiling. They are so wooed by this king, and I wonder why.
Well, that's because they're all at home. They're pooped. They're pooped. They've protested so much they're just tired.
Yeah, well,
it's crazy to me. And then he says, what really caught me off guard was when he said that he said something about Christianity. So I don't mean to bring this up again, but he said, quote, "The Christian faith is a firm anchor and daily inspiration that guides us not only personally, but together as members of our community." And all I can think of. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, all I can think of was I wish he would go home and say that to his own people because they're being overrun by Islam and
Yeah,
other religions. So why isn't he saying that to his own people?
Good point, Ruby.
Yeah, and go back to the picture of his little painting. Did y'all see? Remember we talked about that?
Yeah, it was demonic.
Yeah,
it was demonic.
I don't believe a single word that King Charles says about Christianity. That's him. That's him playing to that bass, is what that is.
Yeah.
Right.
Cat. No, I don't believe Charles is a Muslim. He's more Masonic than anything, arguably like Luciferian.
Yeah.
But I don't see him being. Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, like,
I don't even think he's human.
I don't see him being a Muslim.
I don't even think he's human.
No, but they're very sympathetic to these religions that are completely incompatible with their own culture, which doesn't make any damn sense. But then he comes all the way to the United States and he says something like that. It makes me disgusted of the hypocrisy that they have over there, because he should be telling that to his own people.
Charles, King Charles is so part of this globalist order. He's high up there on the
definitely.
list.
Most
He's
definitely.
high up there on that list.
Absolutely. He represents a deep state through and through, and I ask what the British royal family, the monarchy, represents.
Oh God, those people, freaking evil. And
Absolutely,
they're evil, and they might even be reptilian.
I mean, I believe it. I believe it.
Did y'all
You
get
know, I
that?
would believe it. Yep, I believe it. I would believe it.
Have you talked about Melania? What's going on with her and the all those AI pictures of her pole dancing with Epstein? Have you?
God,
brought that up?
no. I don't even pay those half attention.
No.
All right, just wondering. Especially, well, she just came out and lambasted Jimmy Kimmel.
I did see that.
Yeah, and Melania is 10 times better than that and above that. We don't talk about Melania in those terms. We talk about the good things that Melania is doing, like the children that she was helping with the foster
I
system.
know, but did you bring up what's going on to her? I know all that. I'm just asking about the stuff that's she's being attacked.
Oh yeah. Well, again, anybody in a position that is disrupting, exposing, destroying the deep state globalist international order, like they want to say, they will be attacked. Even to your regular everyday American who comes out here on the internet and speaks truth, we get attacked. Maybe not to the level that Trump and Melania get attacked, but everybody that does it gets attacked. Why? Who is fighting so hard to shut all of us up? And then you have people out there that unfortunately have been brainwashed and programmed to believe the ideologies that we pointed out earlier in the show tonight, not understanding they are supporting their own detriment, and they don't even realize.
And another thing, it's another way to get at Trump by slandering his wife. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's
It's just to distract them. It's just a
distraction. About my
distraction.
wife, I'm going to go off on them.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I want to watch Melania's movie too, JG. He says that he tried watching it and he could only take 10 minutes of it. Why? If you care to elaborate, why? Because
I want to know.
You see, Melania brings an old class that we haven't seen in such a long time, and I really truly wish that she was truly American, because that's what I want. I want that 1960s Jackie class back, and Melania is the only one who brought that back. You know what I'm saying? And I wish I could have that America.
Have
yes, I want that.
Have y'all heard the conspiracies and rabbit holes about Melania?
Some
That
of
she's a
them.
reptilian.
No, I haven't heard. I haven't heard
No,
that.
no, not that one.
I've actually seen that floating around.
Really? Okay, I haven't seen that yet. Okay.
So which one
I've-
are you referring to, Jimmy?
All right. So one that I'm referring to is that she's actually, well, allegedly, we're speculating, folks.
Yes,
This
yes, yes.
conspiracy time. I got to put that out there for everybody. That she's actually a descendant of the Romanov dynasty, and that she's the heir apparent queen of Russia.
Huh.
Oh no, I have not heard that.
I never heard that either.
No,
So-
send it to me on X if you find it or something.
Yeah,
I
I'll find something on that. And so I've heard that. Okay, so that's one. And the other one that I kind of have a hard time with, and I like I said, I have to keep an open mind on everything. But
Go
some
ahead.
of these things I'm like, okay. Some say it's actually Lady Di.
Diana? Hell
What?
no.
Some say it's
No.
Diana playing.
Hell
Some say
no.
it's Diana playing
No.
Melania.
She doesn't even
I
fit.
don't know. I
she doesn't
can't
even
subscribe
fit
to
her
that
shape.
one. Do
She
what?
doesn't even fit her statuesque shape that she has, Melania.
The bone structure is completely wrong.
Right, her voice.
Her face.
Yeah, her
Yeah,
voice.
but you can have a mask. You can wear a mask. It'll
Yeah,
hide all
yeah,
that.
like the movie Substance. Have you guys seen it? Because it's
No.
like somebody
Mm-mm.
reclones themselves with
And
an
you got
injection.
voice modulators that can change voices and anything. So
Yeah, that's a stretch.
I'm just saying that's out there. I don't ascribe to that one as much
There's
as I
all
would
kinds
to
of stuff
Roman.
out there. I thought we weren't talking about Melania, Jimmy.
But we're not saying the bad stuff. that
I
they
know.
do.
Yeah, yeah,
because
not the
just-
bad stuff.
I'm just
we don't.
teasing you. I'm just teasing you.
But I could get down with the Romanoff thing. I can believe that.
Yeah, I need to read
That
that.
sounds likable. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Well,
I
she's
believe
I'd have-
Diana.
I'd-
She's very smart.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd have to do a deep dive on it because although Ukraine was a part of Russia, I do know that, like here in Mongolia, like there are like distinct groups within a country,
Uh-huh.
right? So just because she may have come from a noble family in Ukraine, that doesn't mean that it would be all of Russia, because you have to go into like the history of like
Right.
like pre-Karl Marx. You have to like dive into like the Cossack era, right, with
Yeah.
the czars, and then you have to analyze like the bloodlines of the czars. And to the best of my limited knowledge, very few came from the part that we call Ukraine today. Very, very few.
yeah, but remember Jimmy when that student created a bloodline chart and connected that all of the presidents were related in some type of way except for Trump?
Right.
Oh, I saw that.
I saw
Yes.
that.
So
Yes.
that right makes me kind of believe more so that they are complete outsiders, like with everything in every category you can think of, that it's
Ruby,
completely out of the field. Yeah.
Ruby, I had the same questions you did back in March of 2020.
Yeah.
My biggest thing was I didn't know, because I wasn't paying attention to politics until then, March of 2020. And the biggest thing that woke me up or got me to start researching was the same thought you had this evening, where you've never seen this type of hatred and vitriol to a president before. It didn't happen with Obama. You never saw it.
No.
So I go back a couple more decades and 2 more decades than you. And I never saw it. So I was asked the question, why are they attacking Trump so hard? Why is these impeachments? Why is it always hate Trump, get Trump? Why is that the case? That's what woke me up, because I had to go find out why. Why are they doing this?
Mm-hmm.
And then once you go down that rabbit hole and you start learning all this stuff that we've talked about tonight and before, it actually makes sense of why this stuff is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Ruby, can you bring that up next week about how they're all related? Do you have access to that?
Oh yeah, I could look it up. Yeah, that was really interesting.
I'd love to see that again. That was very fascinating.
Yeah, yeah. So that kind of makes me trust a little bit more with Trump, that he's just playing everybody until the end game. but I'm just kind of getting sick and tired with all of these amateur attempts. Like to me, it feels like more of a distraction because we know better than that when it comes to security and like all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
I've watched way too many movies, you know, that makes me feel like this is just stupid at this point. But to other people, they still take it seriously. Like, okay, Jimmy, so at least this time around, I didn't freak out like I did with the Butler, Pennsylvania stuff.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this time, I was just like, this guy really ruined their dinner. They didn't eat no food. Like that's what I was thinking. Like how inconsiderate. Because now they can't eat dinner. They everything has to be rescheduled or whatever, and everybody has to go home after getting ready for hours. You know what I'm saying? Like it really ruined their night, and that's what I was upset about. I didn't even care about the shooting.
Well, what tripped me out though, and that's good that you didn't freak out, because that means you're waking up from the propaganda. That's what that means right there. Like with me, I tell you all the time, I'm just chill about everything. Nothing surprises me. I'm like, don't worry about it. It's okay.
I agree with that. Nothing surprises me. Nothing.
And so, but one thing that I found interesting was, do you guys remember the last time Trump went to the White House Correspondents' Dinner?
Wasn't he like a
good one.
comedian that night?
It was 15 years ago that he went, and this is where Obama roasted him basically while he was sitting in the audience.
Yeah, that's when he decided to run for presidency.
That's when he decided to run for president. And you got to remember that the majority of the folks in that room, I would say 85-90% of the attendants were anti-Trump, because it's the White House course, it's the media.
Right.
Right.
So he was literally in the line, because that was the first one he's ever went to since 15 years ago.
Well, didn't he just do one where he was roasting everybody? What dinner?
That's the Alfred dinner or whatever.
Oh, okay. He was
Yeah.
This is a separate event. And this event, this White House Correspondents' Dinner, this was the same event where Ronald Reagan was actually shot at.
And the same place too, right? Like, isn't that a conspiracy theory? Like, what?
That was real. It was
crazy.
It was at that location.
Nothing's a coincidence.
Exactly. This is what makes me feel like this is all fake, but real at the same time, because it's like they allowed this.
Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show.
Oh gosh, I'm staying home on 4th of July.
So for Kat's point in the comment, they hate him because he's a patriot. These people want a UN globalist rule. I think that's partially true, but
that's a good point.
I agree with that.
I would say it's because I would agree with the first point, because he's a patriot and he wants to build America up when those, forces want to bring America down. As for a UN globalist rule, that technically already exists and could still exist without America, right? If America went full isolationist, nothing would change outside of the Western.
I'd have to disagree with you on that, Dave. And the only reason I would say that is because the majority of the funding to NATO and the UN comes from the United States.
Now, it would look different, but the overall structure, it would still be globalist. It would still be digital ID. There would still be the infrastructure. There would still be Agenda 2030. There would still be these things. There would still be the World Economic Forum. The only difference is it would look different, but it would still be there.
It would be worse.
If you take America out of the picture and you take the funding out, other countries have voluntarily jumped on board. So nothing would change.
Yeah, but it would be worse because there's still dictatorships in certain countries and communism and socialism. So it would be 10 times worse if we didn't have our boot on their neck.
Well, to be fair, I mean, America hasn't really done much about China, India, or anything else.
Not publicly.
Well, not even privately. Like, there's like, I'm trying to think of how to word this, but I mean, like, when it comes to like internal policies, like those would still be there. Like if America, like, I mean, look at how America is like involved in the world now. Here we have
there's a lot of things brewing behind the scenes that it's gonna pop off any minute now.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, if America, like, with America in the picture, there's like communism and things like that, digital ID and stuff. If America wasn't in the picture, we would still have that, and we would still be going in that direction regardless.
Yeah, I believe that, which is why I think that America should be doing more to reverse that in the world. That's what we should be doing.
I think that what's going to happen is eventually, the United States is going to pull out of NATO. NATO is going to fall. We're not going to have the UN, and each country can get their nationality back, or national identity back. That's where I think we're going. Now it's not going to happen within a year or two, but
Yeah.
but I think that's
How does that? I have a question, and this is going to be a religious question, because I'm kind of looking at this both from like living where I do, but I'm also looking at this from the biblical lens of the one world government, right? So I guess the question is, how does that connect? Like, if the UN collapses and the globalist agenda collapses without America, like, wouldn't that make the prophecy of a one world government be wrong?
In my opinion on this, I believe that they've been using that prophecy as their playbook, and that's what they wanted to do.
Right, to justify what they're doing so that they can advance these prophecies to be fulfilled, but it's not going to work that way. God don't work on your timetable. God works on his own timetable.
So by saying, "Oh, this is what Revelation says. There's going to be a one world," they're actually telling you what their plan was. You go in and disrupt that plan, then what is that? Think about that. Okay, that all plays out.
Yeah.
How are these people that believe every word that the Bible says, how much cognitive dissonance is that going to create in these folks if the situation didn't happen?
They're going to fall out of faith. They're going to become atheists. They're going to think that God doesn't exist, but that's all false in itself. And I would say
that would be interesting.
Well, okay, so here we go with this, because this all ties in with the whole Israel narrative as well, because Israel is trying to build the third temple, whatever they're trying to do, and that goes against the Bible. Jesus is the third temple. He already rose. He is risen. There is no third temple to be built. All that is fake. Then all of these other prophecies, they're just using that to justify their they're trying to grip power.
Yeah,
that's all it is. If they did not have the Bible to justify it, then they would use something else. They would use anything else to grab power. But they're just using the Bible at this moment, or the Old Testament with the Jews in that situation, and that's all that is. In reality, God is going to work in his own way, regardless of what's going on here on earth, regardless of what these people are trying to say.
Okay.
And that's my opinion.
Yeah.
No, and that's fine. I mean, like I said, I'm not an expert on the Bible, so I was just kind of curious how those two connect.
I'm not either. None of us are truly.
Well, you know more than me. I could tell you that right now. So that's why I'm throwing it out there.
I don't know, man. I think it might be so ironic if you know more than me. That'll be crazy, because I still consider myself a baby. Like, I'm still drinking milk. Okay. I'm still learning about all of this myself, but it's because of, I guess, just like the way I think. Like I said before, I did not get indoctrinated with the propaganda in school. I don't believe half of the things I see on TV. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just different. So when I read the Bible, when I look at my worldview and the news and stuff like that, I could see through all the BS. Like, I could see through all the lies and how they try to use the Bible. And it's very effective for certain types of Christians because they believe it. And I'm like, what the heck? Are you serious right now? But once you wake up to that, then you kind of wake up to the Bible as well. And it will either destroy your faith or it will strengthen your faith. And so for me, fortunately, it has strengthened my faith. I believe more in my faith because of what I see in the world. But for other people, they're just so black-pilled that they just they say, oh, there is no God because he allows evil or war. You know what I'm saying? Like you could go either way. You know what I'm saying?
For
So
sure.
it really depends on how you perceive the world.
For sure. And like I get that, like, because I'm actually in like other like actual Christian podcasts like the Proverbs Guys Ministries, and like there's a lot of discussion about like prophecies and like deep dives and stuff, which I find fascinating because that's just, I'm a nerd. I like these things, right? And so I fully agree that the United Nations, like Jimmy's saying, that may not be the one world government, you know, but at the same time, assuming the Bible is correct, and there will be a one world government, if NATO falls and the UN falls, what replaces that would, in theory, make that true? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, what would replace?
Because
Yeah,
it's nothing from, because like I could tell you right now, if like the UN fell, right? Let's say it falls right now. I could tell you right now, everyone here in Asia is just going to make another one, and we're going to do the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So so I find it, you know, it may not be the UN, but the structure is still going to be the same. And that's my point. It may look different, but the overall, it's literally going to be like it's going to be Russia, right? When the Soviet Union fell, all the same people were in power, right? I mean, all the same people were in power, or if they died off, their children, you know, took their, they did a new national anthem, they slapped a new flag on it, and then it's still the same thing. And that's what I think, that if, speaking of Proverbs Guys Ministries, Amicus, what's up? He's on that channel too.
Oh, yes. I just brought his comment up. Welcome
What's
to the
up? Yep.
UPC.
So yeah, we're talking about like biblical prophecy and whether the United Nations is or is not the one world government. But yeah, there's nothing stopping countries from joining the UN, because like Mongolia and some other smaller Asian countries, we didn't have like a bunch of white Westerners come in and like threaten people with like the world is going to end.
Right.
Native peoples, like, we believe in climate change and we want to do something about this. And so they teamed up and formed their own coalition. I think that would still happen. It just wouldn't be the UN.
Gotcha. All right, guys, I got one more clip I want to play to kind of wrap up the theme for this evening, to kind of go along with everything we said about, you know, why is Trump getting attacked and all this. So I got one more to share.
And just a quick question, Dave. What kind of Christians are that podcast that you mentioned? What denomination?
Amicus, can you answer that? And the reason why I say that is because we talked about earlier, people who say they are Christians are not actually Christians.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask.
Amicus, as a person who identifies as a Christian and participates in the panel with me, can you please answer? Because I am Hindu and I don't know what to do.
Yeah, if you don't mind, let me know what denomination. Okay, Jimmy, your clip is up. You just got to put the sound on.
All right,
join the panel.
We're on the same team with the same agenda.
And the challenge is how to build a world order for the first time in history on a global basis.
A new world order.
Create a new world order.
A world order that I think all of us would like to see.
We needed a new world order. Each of us here today is the emissary of a distinct culture, a rich history, and a people bound together by ties of memory, tradition, and the values that make our homelands like nowhere else on earth. That is why America will always choose independence and cooperation over global governance, control, and domination. I honor the right of every nation in this room to pursue its own customs, beliefs, and traditions. The United States will not tell you how to live or work or worship. We only ask that you honor our sovereignty in return.
My friends, this is why they're fighting Trump with all their might. All of them. Please wake up.
Put it this way, money trumps peace sometimes.
That was good.
So right there, Trump spoke at the UN, he was telling all these nations that, hey, here in America, we want independence. We don't want to be under a global governance. And he's told those other countries that he wants to see them chart their own path, get their own traditions back, have their own sovereignty, but respect ours, which we in turn would respect theirs too. So that whole idea goes 100% against a new world order. That's why you see this political violence towards Trump. That's why you will see it keep happening until this enemy has been defeated. So,
But
so
the New World Order.
that's my case for tonight for you guys.
But the New World Order, in my opinion, is an ideology that is being pushed by Israel. They have said and done many things that are to like accelerate these prophecies, like we just discussed before, and they're just doing this on purpose so that they could bring their Messiah.
I think, Ruby, that Israel is being used as a tool to do this. Because you got to remember, the state of Israel as it is was founded by the Rockefeller and Rothschilds. So,
Right.
and these are the same individuals that have been pushing for a global governance. So I think these
And those are the same Jews who rejected Christ as their Messiah. So they're doing everything in their power to bring about their Messiah because they rejected Jesus. That's what this is all about. All these wars, all this Middle East conflicts and things like that. That's what it's all about. And that's why America shouldn't even be involved in that, because that got nothing to do with us. We already accepted Jesus as our Lord and Savior.
Well, that would
So
be great.
why
That
are
would
we
be great and fine if we weren't infiltrated by these people.
Exactly. That's
Exactly.
why all of this New World Order, all this coexist crap, that's all propaganda from them. That's not from us, which is
Yeah,
why we should
absolutely.
separate
But
ourselves
that's
from
what,
them.
but that's what they want to happen so that they can control us. Therefore, they need the programming, they need the brainwashing, they need the propaganda. They need to go after our children when they're able to walk. You know,
Exactly. And
that's
that's why,
Yes,
as
right on.
Christians,
that keeps feeding their system. But we're here to say, no, we're done with that. Trump has been here to say, no, we're done with that. We're not going down that road. So in line with the title for the night's show, what is fueling this political violence? The people that are threatened that their system, their new world order globalist system, is falling apart. That's who's fueling it.
Very well said, Jimmy.
That's right.
yeah.
And don't forget, Trump's only got 2 years left. What's going to happen when his term's over? What's going to happen then?
Well, yeah, we'll talk. We can talk about some things about that a little later.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've got
well, we
my
should
own
do that.
views on that one.
I was gonna say we should do that in like an after show as well as like make a topic on it, because I got a fair amount of thoughts on that too. So it's gonna.
Well,
What,
maybe,
after- when
maybe,
Trump's done?
maybe we can talk about that next UPC or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So Jesse joined us.
Jesse, better late
Jesse,
than never.
you're coming in at the last minute, bro. I'm about ready to
Yeah.
shut
Where
this
were
thing
you,
down.
Jesse? We've been.
I'm on Arizona time. I'm sorry.
You get
I
the
just-
last word, Jesse.
I just got off work.
Oh.
Hey, but I
What's your
was
thoughts, Jesse?
I was inspired by Jimmy. Something
Were
he
you?
said. Hey, I got to tell you this story. I got attacked by this person that I love, and he's real old, senior citizen, and me and Gilbert love him. But when we were growing up, we were taught you can't speak politics or religion. And I remember since I was born, I love Nixon. I came to America to vote for Nixon in '68, escape the tanks. And
legally or illegally?
no, this is what he called Trump a pedophile to my face, angry. So I remember as a little kid what Jimmy was saying, that this didn't happen to Obama. Everything Jimmy said is true. I've seen it with my own eyes. And even though I was raised a Jehovah's Witness, I followed politics all my life. I can't help it. That's the way I was raised. Born. But it's true what Jimmy said. It's never been like this. I remember people hated Nixon, but now the people that hate Trump hate us too.
Yes.
And they're angry and hateful and slanderous. Like Satan is a slanderer. They're if what they say about Trump is true, it's a disgrace. But if they're wrong, they are treasonous and slanderous.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. That's right.
That's
It's
all
gonna
I
be a
want to
fun-
share. So I
It's going to
agree
be a
with what
fun
Jimmy was saying.
It's going to be a fun convo to have during the after show.
Okay. Sorry I'm late, Jimmy.
Whenever we have one, yeah.
I wanted to back up what you said because I seen it with my own eyes. What he said is true. It's the vitriol, hate, and contempt for conservatism is intense right now. It's almost like revenge.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's all over Facebook. People fighting all the time over Trump and the Democrats.
Yeah, Facebook is. I'm so glad I'm off of Facebook because that negativity and the hate and vitriol that I experienced on Facebook, I don't deal with that anymore, and it's so much better right now. But they're even so. There's two things. They're throwing a fit about Trump renovating the reflecting pool.
Yes.
You know why is that a freaking big deal?
I don't know.
He's saving the country millions of dollars. It needs to be fixed. So they're throwing a fit about that. But they've also said that, when Trump gets out of office, all you people that voted for him, if we get back in power, we're coming after you. You guys are going to pay.
Yeah, I heard that.
They've already said that they're going to come after people that supported Trump if they got power back. And that falls in line with what Dave said from the Wright Report, that, oh my God, what would happen if they did get power after the midterms? And
we're screwed.
so, and if they don't get the power, then what's going to happen? They're going to do their riots. They're going to do their chaos.
Not in Florida.
And I think that's when you're going to see the military step in and shut that shit down, because that will be insurrectionist.
But you know what, Jimmy? I think they're right, because before Trump, we only had 2 world wars. Now we have 11.
Oh yeah, yes. So for those that don't, Ruby, do you have?
It wasn't kind of like just nation against nation.
No. Hold on. So what he's talking about is what Elon Omar said this week. We're talking about ignorant people. Ruby, do you have that clip?
Oh my word! This is why you shouldn't be in office if you're not American.
Oh, God.
If you cannot pronounce your name, you shouldn't
we'll
be in
end this
America.
on a lighter note tonight. This is hilarious if y'all ain't seen it.
The last time the Alien Enemies Act was invoked, it was used to detain and deport German, Japanese, Italian immigrants during World War XI.
I mean, I know I've been in Mongolia for a year. I missed the other like
9.
You're like, I must have missed the other 9.
YouTube.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
That was good. That was a good one.
Oh my God.
And this is exactly what we talked
Why
about.
is she still here?
Her name starts with 11, doesn't it?
Starts with what?
11.
Yeah, hold on. Let me put it in the chat.
That's right.
Hold on.
Good
Hold
one.
on. Elon.
Yeah, this is ridiculous, and this is who they vote in. You see what I'm talking about? They import
Voted in a traitor.
the third world.
I've said this before, and I'll say this again, because I spent a good part of my life growing up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and that's where I graduated high school. Of all, think of the most liberal left-wing people you can think of in Minneapolis. I know them. I know some of them anyway.
I don't know anybody.
I cannot think of a single one of them who, I can't find anyone that voted for her. It's all Somali.
Exactly.
Yeah, because no one voted for her because she was installed.
Right. Exactly.
You know, I remember in 1980, I think it was 1980 or 1984, when Ronald Reagan beat Minnesota Senator, the Vice President Mondale. Only Minnesota voted for him. I mean, it was a complete and total wipeout.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So there's something about Minnesota. I think the water's blue over there. They must have methylene blue.
No, we do not have all that fraud and everything.
Exactly,
All right,
corruption.
guys.
So
Well,
now,
let's go with last thoughts for this evening. Let's go around the table.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
have a good
Thanks
night,
for coming on,
Jeffrey.
Jesse.
Thank you for joining.
Dallas, do you have any thoughts for this evening? Final thoughts? Chat, do you guys have any final thoughts for tonight?
Yeah, type it now.
Go ahead, Dallas.
Well, I enjoyed what you had to share, and I do agree, and I do think that as you're speaking about importance about the third world, that some but not all, they bring their baggage with them.
Yeah.
And Ilhan Omar, she's a traitor.
Yep, 100%.
Traitor is her middle name.
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree with that, and here's why. Because in order to be a traitor, you have to be an American and like actively supported America, and then
Exactly.
All right, so
She's
let's
an
call her
invader.
seditious.
Yeah, there's another word. What'd you say? Seditious? I think that's.
Seditious.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would call her an invader. They invaded this
Yeah.
country, and then
Yeah.
they have some sense of entitlement with power, like elections and the fraud stuff that they're doing. That's all a sense of entitlement. They come to this country thinking that they're entitled to things where when they're not even born here.
Exactly.
Instead of earning it, because being here or any Western nation, I thought it was supposed to be a privilege and not a right or entitlement.
Exactly. Exactly.
And,
But they
and
keep that
it's all
granted.
right if one's disagree with me, because they're entitled to their opinions. It's we're here, we can disagree with each other, and I got no problem with one's disagreeing with me.
Right. But I take it a step further, because if you're not even registered to vote, then I don't want to hear your opinion. And if you're not born in this country, even less do I want to hear your opinion. So you see, I agree with that, but not those types of people. They could go back to their country and have an opinion about their own country. That's what matters. But they're over here trying to dictate and lecture us about certain things. That's when things get confusing.
That's right. And that after show video, that last one, I was on there, but I by mistake lost that one. I hope I can have that one back, because I was on there and we had Matt on it, Matthew.
Oh, okay.
I erased that by mistake.
All right, Dallas. Well, we appreciate you tuning in tonight. Thanks for joining, like always, buddy. We appreciate
It
you.
is an honor to be here with the family here.
Well, we appreciate having you.
Thanks for
Gigi, do you have any last thoughts for this
Thank
evening?
you, Uncle D.
You too, buddy.
Good night, Dallas. I just have a short sentence to say. I'm trying to be positive, and I'm trying to stay away from all the evilness and the propaganda as much as I can. And I'm spending more time painting, and I'm working on an ancestry for a friend. And my son's getting married, so I got a lot of things to look forward to. So I'm trying, and I'm hoping that the good at the end will conquer all this evil that's going on, and that's what I'm hoping for.
Definitely.
And thank you for the show.
Aw, thank you for joining, Gail.
You're welcome. Thank you. Have a nice week, everybody.
You too, Gail.
Too.
Have fun. I'm having a fun conversation with Rod about cursive, right?
Yeah.
In the chat. I enjoy it. I enjoy it because, I mean, it's great to hear different perspectives. So I'm actually enjoying that chat. Yeah, Rod seems cool.
Yeah, half of the country wouldn't even know what the document reads because they don't even know how to read or write in cursive. So they wouldn't even know their rights if they tried.
And that's kind of my point. It's like I grew up learning to write cursive in high school, but I've never read it, or I've never written it since. I've never even done like an actual signature just because like it's all digital now, right? So it's like
Exactly.
obsolete and outdated. But all the original documents are online anyway, assuming people want to read them. And as we've demonstrated in the beginning of the show, people my age and younger, generally speaking, there are exceptions, but you go on your college campus, you really think they care about original documents as opposed to
No.
vape nightclubs? They don't care to begin with. Same thing with Rod saying that, you know, like try reading grandparents' love letters and baby books. My grandparents never did that, right? My American grandparents never wrote love letters or kept baby books, right? And again, going back to like a generational thing, people my age don't care about that because our grandparents, in many cases, have been dead for years, you know? But it's still interesting, and I do agree that like if it has value, it should be kept, right? So I do
Yeah.
agree with that as well.
We lost a class a very long time ago. We lost that classic Americana culture a
It's
very
like
long
what,
time ago.
the 50s?
Yeah. Yep. And that's why my like traditionalism, that's where it comes from. Like I was obsessed, and my grandma basically raised me, and I was obsessed with her music, with her dress, with her like everything. She instilled that style, you know, of
Exactly.
music and everything into me. And then I went a step further and I got obsessed with period dramas, and I was like obsessed with the 1800s, 1700s, and I kept going back into time, and I truly felt like I was born in the wrong time period. I don't belong here. I wish I could go back into time, but I can't. So I'm stuck with the degeneracy of my modern day, but I strive to just teach my children the opposite. So whatever I can do, I try to do my best. And that's about it. That's all we can
Exactly.
do.
No, I agree. And I do find humor in some of these perspectives, not because they're bad perspectives, but because like the older generation always looks down on the younger generation, right? You know, the whole kids these days can't do this. And I always think it's funny where, you know, someone in the chat's like, man, men just don't know how to make 6th century war axes like they used to. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like you can just keep going down the line. It's like, man, we used to have guillotines, and we used to saw people in half from their pelvis down. And now we just do a lethal injection, you know.
Exactly.
You can always go back and find something to look down on.
Yeah. Also, really quickly, Dave, your friends in the chat were super vague. They didn't say what denomination of Christianity they were. They just said that they're Bible believing Christians. And I don't know how many times I've heard that, but it's vague as hell.
So
I
to the
still
best
have
of my
to-
knowledge, it sounded like an answer about the page itself, because the page hosts multiple ministries. So the page itself has no specific denomination. As for the individuals there, there's a couple Eastern Orthodox. One of them is called Eastern Thomist. He's got his own YouTube channel.
Okay.
I think there might be a couple Baptists running around, and I don't know the rest, but there's like a lot of different people. So individuals might be a part of different denominations, but the page itself just hosts different ministries.
Okay, cool. Can you link their channel?
Yeah.
Podcast in the comments? I'll check them out whenever I have some free time. I dive into that corner of the internet sometimes, and that's where I educate myself a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you guys for joining the stage. We've had a lot of new people in the chat, so it's really cool to see you guys. You're gonna have to join us again next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Central, Eastern. No, I still have a migraine, so I'm tripping. So 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah. So I just want to say real quick for final thoughts. I thought this was a really good episode as far as laying out a pattern to show people where this violence pretty much comes from, how it started, why it started. You know, we touched a little bit on who's funding it, and And I think this is important because so many people just get wrapped up in the story or the event that they see on mainstream media that they don't dig in further to find out the why about things. And that's why I felt like we had to do this so that people could get a bigger picture of things going on behind the scenes. And so, and we can do that with a lot of events, because even with this, everything going on in Iran, everything going on in England right now, stuff's popping off in Egypt. There's always more stuff behind these things and why they're happening. That's what I want people to understand, because just don't accept what the mainstream media is putting out there. Don't accept the programming and the propaganda that they want you to believe in, because you're playing into their hands when you do that. So
agreed. And I want to jump in real quick and kind of continue that. And that's why I enjoy having you guys on. And I saw some people thank me for being on because of the outside perspective. And I agree, because the American mainstream media is all about Iran and Ukraine still for some reason, right?
Yeah.
So they're focusing on Iran, they're focusing on Palestine, they're focusing on all these things. They're not telling you that, about CBDCs, right? The centralized banking currency, right? The digital currencies. Here in Asia, that's popping off. I can tell you that right now. Mongolia is a second world nation, and we're phasing out cash faster than the US is. And the US is like going to that point, right? They're not talking about even things like digital ID. Like, I'll see Facebook pages talking about like digital ID and government AI surveillance. And you'll see a couple like local news media talking about, hey, did you know that when you renew your driver's license, it's going to be digital? But it's not like a mainstream thing yet. There's Palantir. There's surveillance that's going to be in the cars in 2027. And then the US as a whole is like rolling out AI surveillance cams like we have here, right? So like there's a lot of stuff going on here in Asia that isn't like explosions and in your face, but there's a lot going on here.
Yeah. Just for reference, next week we'll touch on that whole thing about the cars. I've got another perspective on that I'll share with you guys next week. For one, I don't think it's going to happen, and I'll tell you why next week. So
Okay, yeah, we had a really great show. Thank you so much for everybody joining, especially in the chat. Please join the stage ASAP. As soon as you see that link and you have opinions you want to share, click that link. So we're going to be here Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. And let me think, is there anything else? I saw Bo was in the chat earlier, so he's feeling sick. He has the flu right
he gets
now.
feeling better.
Yeah, hopefully he can join us next Tuesday. I really missed him tonight. And
I've got our outro ready to go, Ruby, whenever you're ready.
Oh yeah. Let's let me see. I don't know if I was gonna say that. I think I forgot what was I gonna say.
Yeah.
Dang it.
We'll be back next week.
All right. Yeah, definitely. All right. Thank you so much to Dave as well for joining.
Yes. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks
Appreciate
for having
you.
me.
Yeah.
And thank you in the chat, everybody. Hit like, share if you feel comfortable with it. And we appreciate you guys. And we'll be back next week.
Yep. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
They said I lost my mind, said I was chasing ghosts and shadows. I showed them what I'd find, but they just laughed and called me hollow. Tinfoil on my head, they said conspiracy delusion. Every word I said was buried under their confusion, but I could feel it in my bones. A reckoning was coming. I'd rather bleed and stand alone than pretend I wasn't seen. Something call me crazy. crazy, call me broken, call me every name you've spoken. Paranoid, deranged, and blind, but I had something on my mind. Now the curtain's torn wide open. Every word I said is proven. Who's crazy now? Let the record show. Wide awake while you were in the show. They cost me friends, they cost me sleep. Call me unhinged at the dinner table. They rolled their eyes so goddamn deep. Said I was broken and unstable. Lost my job for speaking out. Got unfriended for the questions. Every time I raised my doubt, they made it therapy, they suggested. But I kept burning through the night, connecting every dot they missed. The only question left was when, not if. And now they get this. Call me crazy, call me broken, call me every name you've spoken. Paranoid, deranged, and blind, but I had something on my mind. Now the curtain's torn wide open. Every word I said is proven. Who's crazy now? Let the record show. Wide awake while you were in the show. You call me crazy. You call me lost. You call me, they call me lost, but you never counted the cost. Silencing the ones who see before the rest already. You buried us in ridicule, but truth don't shake so easy. Now the world is cracking open, and the shock is written on your face. And I know you want an answer for how you got so taken in this place. Well, I can say I told you so. God knows I've earned the right, but I held this torch for all of us. Not to prove I'm right, but to give you light. I'm not here to burn you down or tell you that you failed me. I know how deep this rabbit hole goes. I know how bad the fall can feel. I was once exactly where you're standing, shaking in the story they were handing. So take my hand, I'll walk beside you. There's a way to step outside this. Now you're questioning, now you're